Okay. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started. It's 6:03. I've asked Commissioner Hope to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor.
Would everyone stand, please, and bow your heads? Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we humbly come before you as your public servants, along with our guests, contractors, city staff, and community citizens, to conduct the business of the city before us this evening. With your will, may we civilly and peacefully discuss, discern, and act with fairness for what is best for all within Archer. We thank you for the beautiful spring weather that already reminds us of the renewal of life and energy that only you, O Lord, can grace us with. We thank you for all the men and women in uniform across the world who defend our freedom in America and all the free world. Be with them and their families, dear Lord, until their safe return home. We ask that you bring resolve and peace to our brothers and sisters in Israel and the Middle East, as only your will can provide for the world. We go in faith for your intervention and resolution to their insecurities and fears at hand. Be with all our first responders also as they provide for our safety, health, and well-being 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Remain close to them and their families through their continued return home. And with that, we thank you for your grace. May we remember in this newly sprung season that you grace us with, as written in Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for all at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. In your holy name we pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor and Commissioner Hope. We are at additions or deletions.
Additions under old business, we have the Orkin contract. Under new business, number 5, the Pyrotechnico contract. And addition number 6 is the charter school resolution, Mayor.
Okay. I need you to, could you go back over them? I had to find a pen here. What?
Old business is the Orkin contract.
Okay.
New business, number 5 is the Pyrotechnico fireworks contract.
All right.
And number 6 is the charter schools resolution.
All right. Thank you.
What was number 4?
That's what I'm missing.
Under new business.
I mean, I've got resolution, I've got.
You should have a new.
Oh, so I'm sorry, Mr. Brooke. Number 4 is the Pyrotechnico, and number 5 is the charter schools resolution. Okay. On the sheet.
Okay.
Those are only 5.
4.
2 more new ones.
Okay. And I didn't read the new one, so now I see, because I was really confused just then. All right, so that's all of the additions, or thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Vice Mayor to adopt the agenda. Any additional discussion by the commission? No? All right, public discussion on the motion.
Lori Costello, citizen. I asked that the full packets go out on Thursday. We never get the manager's report before the weekend. I have a habit of looking over everything on the weekend. Mondays are busy. I'm not staring at the computer waiting to get something. And then I noticed that there are several things more on the agenda, which I haven't even looked at. So, you know, you have this public meeting for the public, and they should be able to view the information prior to the meeting. And I'm sure you commissioners would like to have it instead of rushing on everything on Monday, especially if you have questions or you have to call somewhere or something like that. It would be nice to have it when the packet's supposed to be ready. I know the community center was not on the original agenda. Roberta couldn't be here tonight, but she asked me to pass this out to the commissioners. If I could pass it out now so you can have it when you all were talking about it. Thank you. Just let me take your copy.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Pardon?
Thank you for joining us in presence
Oh,
tonight.
thank you.
That's a first, thanks.
She has everybody's name on it, very organized, so just take your copy, and I think they're all the same, but, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments, public comments?
Well, I would
All right, seeing none, we're going to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0, and we need to excuse Commissioner Green in the event she doesn't make it.
I will make a motion to excuse. Did she call her?
She did.
Okay. I will make a motion to excuse Commissioner Green.
Thank you. We have a motion by by Commissioner White to excuse Green, and a second by Vice Mayor.
Madam Mayor, can everybody use their microphone, please? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This is the mayor's company.
Pass that back. Pass that back. Any discussion on the motion?
Amen.
No? All right, public discussion on the motion. All right, seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. All right, adoption of agenda with the
I just did.
changes. Well, that was that's, well, I didn't word it that way because I wasn't looking at what was next. So yes, consent agenda.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
All right, we
I
have,
will second it.
we have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? No? None? Commissioners? Okay, what do you have?
Tony, when are we gonna get the bills? What should be part of the consent agenda?
It should be. We are still having trouble with this software company, and the attorneys are working with them right now on it. It's not an excuse, but Cindy cannot do a lot of work with that company right now.
Well, we need those bills. I
You know
haven't
where,
seen a bill
you know
in
where
4
we're at
months.
in that issue with the software company?
Cindy provided her list of all of the things that they're either not doing or doing wrong. It was either today or Friday. I can't remember which when I saw the email. So we've got the list now of all the things that they're not doing, which will allow us to write a letter, essentially being like, you might be breaching your contract here if you don't get yourselves together.
I've given them 4 ultimatums. I just got tired of dealing with them, and I turned it over to the attorneys.
Then
It-
can we do
it's-
something where, because I don't know if our bills are getting paid on time, I don't know if we're even paying our bills, I'm sorry.
No, I just, Madam Mayor, I just have a question. Is it not providing the list of bills that she pays? That's on a 30-day basis? That's one question I have. And number two, if that's not possible, the second question is that if the problem is with the profit and loss statement monthly, if she can't produce that? And the third question I have, if that's the case, as we go into litigation or demand or breach of contract, what I'm hearing, I am making a motion that we have the bank statements presented as part of our agenda each month. All accounts, bank statement from the previous month until we get this resolved.
I will talk.
Now, redacting the account numbers and all.
Yes, ma'am, but
And,
just what we
Yeah.
paid, and what the balances are in the accounts.
I will talk with Cindy tomorrow and get you those answers.
It's not a matter, Mr. Hammond and Madam Mayor, of distrust. It is just our fiduciary accountability as public servants to this city. I mean, we have to show accountability that we've at least looked at the bank statements each month until we get this
Understand.
resolved. Thank you.
And I asked for them last month, I know, and you told me the same thing you did tonight. And so I'm ready to see some bills, I'm ready to see that they're paid.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, I put a motion on the floor for next month's meeting, if it goes that far, for us to have the bank statements
Okay,
redacted with the necessary information.
all right. So that was second by Commissioner White. But guess what? We can't even do that right now because we still had the first one on here. So do you want to,
I'm sorry.
that's, yeah, revise
I'll
or
put that motion
amend that?
until we get the first item on the consent agenda, or to break them out if that's okay.
Okay, yeah. The first item was to approve the consent agenda. And you made that motion and Commissioner White seconded it. So any other discussion about the consent agenda? None. Public discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. Now, your new motion.
My motion regarding just the continued consent agenda until we get our regular listed bills and profit and loss statement monthly is to have at each meeting the month-ending bank statements from all the accounts of the city with redacted information as needed.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All right. Any commissioner discussion on the motion, the new motion?
I mean,
None. Public discussion? Or comment? All right, seeing none. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. All right. We have one guest, and I don't see the guest. Felicity.
Felicity's not here tonight, Vincent, and I'm not going to attempt your last name.
Oh, well,
He's here to give a report.
Hi there, yeah, Vincent Spar, standing in for Felicity.
okay.
A poor replacement, I assure you, but she did give me some information to report, and I am not the technical expert that she is, but I can communicate anything back to her and get y'all answers. So,
Okay. What was the last name?
Spar, S-P-A-H-R.
Oh, okay. Yes.
The H, it really razzes people, yeah. So, on stormwater, the U.S. Army Corps is working on the citywide hydraulic model. Tony and Felicity are meeting with them monthly to monitor that progress, and the model results are expected to be completed mid-June and are expected to be presented to the commission in Felicity's July update. She wanted me to remind y'all to send any photos of flooding that may occur between now and then to her with a date and location so that she can convey that to the Corps and they can incorporate that into their model. On the Laurel Hill Cemetery, the project will start field work this month, and most of that field information will be collected by drone to minimize foot traffic through the cemetery. On the community center, the architect plans to have a permittable set by June. The current plan is to have the architect present at the April or May commission meeting and show the commission plans for the exterior and the interior of that structure. And on wastewater, still working on permits for the collection system and design for the force main connection to Newberry. We do not yet have rates to report as we're still acquiring cost estimates from the city of Newberry, pardon me. Tony and Felicity are working with the state on applications for additional construction grant funds for the force main and for Archer's portion, which is about 14% of the treatment plant in Newberry. And lastly, the pre-engineering work is complete for the water system design. The contract for design and permitting will be presented in new business under item 3. That relates to the same 12 project locations that Felicity has presented previously and were identified in the water master plan.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Mr. Spar? Come up.
Is 143rd Avenue on one of the items underneath the stormwater project?
Here what the exhibit shows. I don't believe so, but don't quote me on that.
Well, just to let you know that we've been having problems with that road forever and ever and ever. And the water goes into people's homes because there's nowhere for that water to run off. So that really needs to be put on there. We've had several people come before this commission over the last 5-6 years. Susan Drawdy used to complain about it. When it rained, the water used to go into her house. All right, thank you.
She was right.
Yeah, Ms. Costello, I will check in the morning, but I do believe it is.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't realize 143rd was Susan Drawdy's.
Oh.
That's the worst road in this town.
Madam Mayor, point of order, can they use their microphones, please?
I apologize, I'm through.
I'm just the principal tonight.
Thank you. All right, public announcements. Any public announcements? All right, we're gonna move on to public comments. You have 3 minutes, please state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Bill Lewandowski, pronouncing my last name shouldn't count to the 3 minutes.
It doesn't.
City of Archer. So I have 3 comments for the commission tonight. It's related to the not really hearing that we had, the conditional use permit hearing from last week, which really wasn't a hearing after all. The comments I have are not related to the specifics of the specifics related to whether or not you would approve the CPU. So I just want to make that clear. I'm not trying to litigate that here. So 3 things. So one thing is that December Sherry mentioned that there currently are or were 2 Superfund sites in Archer. And those were created as a result of pollution from previous commercial activities. At the end of the meeting, Ann Green went on at great length to discuss all the pollution that potentially was from 119 years of operations. So my question is, do we have a potential Superfund issue with Maddox Foundry, the old Maddox Foundry?
No.
How do we know that?
I would pause, Madam Mayor, I apologize for interrupting. Because that is a quasi-judicial issue, it would really be better suited, because right now, I mean, it's technically an ex parte communication.
Well, just to be clear, the Maddox Foundry site itself is not part of that.
Okay,
The Maddox Foundry the Maddox Foundry itself is not being.
so you're asking about something separate and apart from the property
Correct.
that's
whole
in the site
property,
plan?
and Mr. Hope can, speak to that better than I can, but the whole property itself is what was formerly part of Maddox.
Okay.
Where they're looking at putting that plant is on a section of it.
Okay.
That is not part of the actual building and where the refinery was taking place. Am I correct on that? And because
As a past owner of Maddox Foundry Machine Works with my wife, in 2007 and 2008, because of a pond overflow issue that had happened for many years, the state DEP came in and wanted to monitor, which they monitored on a regular annual basis, and all those records are with the state DEP, for heavy metals of any kind in the runoff of the water. That never happened on my watch. So the state DEP came in and monitored that pond and took samples on a regular basis for over a year and came back with a manifest of clearance for all of the stormwater runoff. They were then queried by the U.S. EPA out of Washington, D.C., asking, that is wonderful that an old industry like that has that kind of clean runoff. But what is happening with the percolation of the soil on the 22-acre site, 22 and.
The whole acre, the whole site.
The entire,
Yeah.
not just buildings, Mr. Bill Wendowski.
That's fine, that's fine.
All 23 acres, of which we then contracted privately with an environmental surveying company called ECT, spent over $850,000 over a period of 24 months doing as Washington D.C. EPA stated, and their purpose and what they expected out of the company to do to prove or disprove whether there was any contaminants in the soil. 700 boring test wells, 7 wells, and 700 test borings were conducted over the 24-month period to test the soil. And I have on record in my home, because it was one document that I took with me as we closed the business as we know it, the clearance and a manifest that states that is a clean site. There is nothing on that site that is cause for any remediation, brownfield, Mrs. Green stating smog and fog and dirt and whatever else she was attesting to on her opinion here about that company's operation over 122 years.
Okay, so you understand what my concern was listening to it. You were in the audience too.
This is
so-
my concern,
Yeah.
Mr. Lewandowski, and again, I'm just speaking, I guess, out of false pride and something that I have nothing to do with, but I can assure you, we celebrated quite vibrantly because they asked a legitimate question, they being Washington D.C. EPA. Do you have record of what was put in that soil in World War I and World War II, as there were over 150 employees working around the clock during the 2 world times, and it was a shell plant producing all kind of works. We didn't
Right.
do submarine work and radiological work like that. We knew that because we looked at all the work orders, because we had every one of those going back to 1905. There was nothing of that sort that was ever purchased or purchased by the government or whatever for us to do the work orders. But we didn't have records of what happened on the soil. So we had to comply with what, that's what we pay the national EPA to do for us, is to ensure that they're the watchdogs for companies. And we did that. And the company did not, again, no sour grapes. The company didn't have $850,000 in capital to spend on that. All capital money went to that project over 24 months. I don't regret it at all, because especially for the outcome.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Community.
I'm glad to hear it's not a potential Superfund site.
And that is
was my
public
concern.
record, and that is available
Good.
through our local regional DEP and through the EPA, because they couldn't move and provide the state manifest clearance until that work was done.
Good. I'm
Anyway,
great. I'm really glad to hear that.
Be a bulldog and bite.
No, that's good.
It's out of false pride, and I apologize to the community for being that vibrant about
Yeah,
it.
I'm really glad to hear that, because I
we
was
celebrate
really
with-
worried when I heard that testimony.
Because we couldn't tell anybody what HITUP did in 1920 in World War I. World War I or II. So anyway, there's a lot of pride, false pride that goes with that. Yes, sir, that is a clean site.
Good. Good.
He could
I'm glad
not-
to hear that.
The current owner could not proceed if he didn't have that kind of clearance, ecologically and from an environmental survey standpoint, and the environmental survey is on site, and he has records of all that.
So one thing about that, and you can stop me if I'm going off. to do
No, it
that.
sounds like you're talking about something
Yeah.
entirely different, so we're good.
So one thing that you should think about as we do these processes for conditional use permits is I did relook at that before I came here, the survey that was done. And the survey only dealt with the surrounding area. So in other words, it didn't do soil samples, didn't do that. It was the stock language that said, these are the types of animals that live here, these are, the usual boilerplate stuff. So that permit that analysis that was done is just meaningless boilerplate. So it didn't really look at anything else. So something to think about as we start going through and we look at reusing stuff maybe it was industrial, maybe it was an old building, whatever it was. We need to have a real environmental analysis, not boilerplate that the contractor pays for. Just something to think about.
And I'm sorry for clarification, you're speaking of what was presented to the P and Z in the 600-something page document?
Correct.
The other night?
Correct.
Last Thursday,
Correct.
whatever, okay.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely
Especially
correct.
in the industrial applications. and
Correct.
That's what you're asking as a recommendation. that we-
Correct, that's a recommendation, we kind of rethink that process. The second thing is, I think there was some public confusion in regards to what was going to go on that property prior to the meeting. So, I know I asked a question, other people asked the questions at some of the community meetings. It came out at the meeting that, in fact, the city had information that an application was being processed at least as early as September 2023. Mr. Kosicki, if he wants to speak to it, had 2022. So in fact, the commission, somebody in the commission had knowledge that an application was being considered for that. And my understanding is, once that application is submitted, it's part of the public record. Is that correct? It's not private information?
As soon as a document is submitted to the city for purposes of anything to do with the public, it is public record, absent exemptions and exceptions.
Okay. So I wasn't the only one who thought that was something we need to be more forthcoming with the public on these types of things. I understand that there's some commercial operations that the commission cannot speak on. I understand that. As a business person, I understand that. But public record is public record. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that at least one commissioner, and certainly most of the public that was there, really had no understanding of what our ordinance says in terms of industrial areas. They just don't know. And I'd like to remind you that you passed that ordinance back in August 2020. And you passed that ordinance prior to even doing the community visioning center, and of course prior to having the new, what's that called? Comprehensive plan. So I would like to recommend to the commission that you rethink this whole thing about industrial areas, and you bring it back before the public as information, so the public really has buy-in as to what type of industry we're going to have here. Because those folks were all surprised about what was going on there. And if you went at the meeting, you knew that they were all surprised by that. I think I was one of the few people there that knew that it wasn't a by right application. So people just don't understand what the commission has said should be going where. And I really think we ought to go back to the public and say, this is what was done, this is where it's at, what should we change? Because all this was done prior to any of the things that are supposed to have happened prior to passing these types of ordinance. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'm going on record. I heard rumors. I have seen no application that I can recall.
Right.
No application. And the other thing is, when this did come before us, I recall we were going to revisit it at some point,
Right. Right.
and we have.
That is correct. And I don't think that all of us were here 2020. You and I were, but I don't think everybody else was.
That's true.
And yes, it was rumors, but I know when I talked to the owner, I never got a clear answer. And I was never given any information about any applications. But we can still move forward, and you are correct. We
didn't
were
come
supposed to revisit it. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Welch, and I've been a resident of Archer for a year and maybe 4 months now.
Yes, ma'am.
I get a water bill that states I pay for water and also pay for waste management, which is garbage, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We have a dumpster in our community. I want to know why I'm charged for the city of Archer picking up my garbage when they don't. And also, the charge for that is $26.18, which went up from last year. This is my first available night since I've been here
Yes, ma'am.
to attend one of these meetings. And, why is that happening?
Okay, so what's your neighborhood? Where do you live?
Archer Village.
Archer. Okay, I know. That's like 346. Yeah. By the post office going down. those
Exactly.
Apartments over there.
Around the right.
Yes.
Yeah, the senior apartments on the.
On the right. I live in the senior apartments on the right.
The
Once,
regular apartments are
once
on
you
the
cross
left.
the railroad track, to the right.
What's your apartment number, ma'am?
The building number is 13560,
Gee.
and the apartment number is 20.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Madam Attorney, don't we have an ordinance that says that any residents inside the city limits pays for water and garbage?
Off the top of my head, I mean, yes, that is standard. I would have to see the actual contents of the ordinance,
Even
though.
if they have a dumpster.
How can you charge us for something, a service that you're not providing?
You could get it. If you want to put a garbage can out there, I'm assuming you could get it. We would have to talk to Waste Pro.
I don't want a garbage can. That's not what I'm saying. I'm asking, why am I being charged? And you're telling me about an ordinance that's been passed that I gotta pay the city of Archer for a service they don't provide for me, which I think is illegal.
No.
So and I'm not sure, I don't think any of us were sitting here when that development was brought
Gotcha.
into Archer, but I'm pretty sure, like Commissioner White is saying, that was something that the city had already had in place, that if you are a resident, these are the things you'll be charged for once you become a resident here and you're
But they
receiving.
don't tell you that before you become a resident. When you pay your money to get your water bill turned on, they don't say, okay, Miss Welch, now you're gonna have to pay this extra 20, it was 24 something, or now you're gonna have to pay this 26.18 because now you're residents of Archer, and this is what we charge. I may have
Yes, ma'am.
changed my mind.
And I understand.
That's a
I'm
lot
not
of
sure
money.
why they didn't tell you, and just looking at the address, the person that, is taking your money and signing you up for water services may have not realized that where exactly that is in Archer. But the city manager got your information here, and I am hoping and requesting that he's gonna look into it and get more information for you as to what we can do to help you.
And for the record, if I had my option, I wouldn't pay it either. I'd take it to the dump. But
We have a dumpster there.
Would you mind giving me your phone number so I can call you?
I will. Not now.
Okay.
She doesn't want all of us to have it.
Okay, and then I have one more thing that really bothers me.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that when I get a bill, I at least have 28 to 30 days to pay that bill.
Yes, ma'am.
The city of Archer gives you 10 days to pay a bill. 20, you get 20?
Yeah, we just got our bill on Friday.
I get 10 days to pay mine. And then you get this late charge. I don't think that's right either.
Yes, ma'am. So, and I guess you just heard us talking about this new program for the billing, and we have had a lot of issues, and Miss Tangi standing at the back, I'm sure she came to talk about it. However, she's been very graceful, so if you didn't know, but if you called her or came up and say, hey, I just got this and I only have this certain amount of time to pay it, and that's unreasonable, I'm positive she would have told you, no ma'am, you can have more time because it's on the city of Archer. So this is the first month that I actually got my bill on time in a long time since we got this program. And when I saw it in my email, I was like, oh, I got a bill this month. Because normally I have to call her and ask for it. But here's Miss Tangi. Right.
Tangi Green, City of Archer employee. Since we got the new system, the bills have not been on time since August, if truth be told, because we've had all kind of issues getting the bills done in Edmonds, which they misrepresented their product, I think, to us. So that's why the bills have been late. But We have not also done a late fee since August either because of the issues. So there is no way morally, now y'all could tell me to put it on there a late fee, but I ain't gonna do that. So I probably lose my job, but I don't think it's right to charge someone a late fee when it's not their fault.
Correct.
So nobody has noticed that there hasn't been a late fee, and so Archer's losing money because this is the system, because there hasn't been a late fee done since August when we started using this new system. And the solid waste, I don't tell people that they're paying for solid waste in any neighborhood because it's on the application and it says water and solid waste. So I thought that if you see water and solid waste, you'll understand that it's an application for water and solid waste. And then at that time, if you ask me why is solid waste on here, I'd be more than happy to tell you I don't know the ordinance number, but I was told since I started working here that it's an ordinance that if you have a water account, you have to have the solid waste account. And that's probably because we pay Waste Pro. I don't know. I know when we raised the rates a couple of years ago, we had a lot of issues with the churches, and they were in an uproar because they didn't want to have to pay for the solid waste, and so they did what they did, and so now they don't have to. They pay Waste Pro directly. So I just wanted to come over and address those issues. But yeah, and I also provided my list to Kirsten, I think, about what's not working right in the system, because I wants to quit my job every month. We start reading meters next month, and I'm dreading it. It gives me anxiety. And this very month right here, last month when we did it, I almost got my purse and walked out. And I said, you can say it's job abandonment, I don't care what you call it, but I can't take this anymore. So yeah, the bills have been late. I do apologize. I do the best I can with what I got.
So our banking and our billing are
It's
on
on
the same
Messed
book.
up. The whole system is messed up.
And you can send them a letter and tell them we feel like it's a breach of contract?
Yeah, Cindy sent me, I checked, Cindy sent the list this morning, so with all of the, and I mean, it's like 8 or 9 things of these things that are going on, in addition to what Tangi sent,
You need a
so.
motion for us to do that?
I haven't sent, I mean, they just sent me the stuff this morning. I'm fast, I'm not that fast.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that, that way.
Make a motion to send that company a breach of contract, because this is getting ridiculous.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Vice Mayor. Just give us a minute. Any additional comments? All right, public discussion on this new motion. All right, seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. You can continue.
Okay, when, I heard what she was saying, but when I call, and I like to see my application, because, it's been, over a year that I've done it, so I wanna see a copy of my application also.
Yes, ma'am.
And, I've had one late bill, thank God, and no, I was not charged, a late fee, but my bill is never late. So that's not the point of saying that the bill, that we're only given 10 days to pay it.
Yes,
It's not because I'm late or am gonna be late, but for the purpose of, listen, this just doesn't apply to me. Other people in the city can't pay a bill within 10 days of getting that bill.
Yes, ma'am.
But every other bill, do you get bills? They give you 28 to 30 days to pay them. Credit card bills, insurance company. If I had to pay my insurance company every 10 days, my God, I wouldn't have no insurance.
Correct.
So I rest my case. Mr. Hammond, I look forward to hearing from you. How soon? I keep it to your word, too.
I got your number.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, the utility services do not give you 30 days. Duke Energy does not. get a bill on the 24th
Duke
of the month,
Energy,
and
Duke
they have to
Energy
get-
gives you more than 10 days.
No, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying it's less than 30 for Duke.
It might be, I said from 28 to 30.
Yeah,
It's not 10.
You get
10
more.
is ridiculous.
You get more than I get from Duke. They cut off
I really do. It's 28 to 30 days, but I always pay it when I get it. But that's ridiculous. 10 days to pay a bill?
And Madam Mayor, just as an aside, while Ms. Welch is still standing there, even though she's run out of her time because we're rambling ourselves, and I apologize for that, but I would be interested to know for Archer Village and a dumpster there, is that supported by Waste Pro commercially? And whoever manages that property, do they take it out of these folks' rent? Or who pays for that?
For the
And again,
dumpster.
we don't own Archer Village, and I certainly know that, but I mean,
Yeah,
if that dumpster's
exactly.
sitting there and it's serviced by Waste Pro, it's just like a commercial account with the churches.
Right.
It's that dumpster price for 4-yard, 8-yard, whatever, I don't know what size, I don't care what size y'all have or whatever, but if it services all the residents there, then how do we remedy this? Does every tenant within Archer Village get charged the 20-something dollars?
They do, and I don't.
$26.
I don't agree with them
Okay.
having to pay that either,
And
because it doesn't make sense to do what they do.
Madam Mayor, I'm not trying to create a bigger issue, but I'd like this resolved, because if we've in error charging the residents, and it should be something that we're charging, or Waste Pro is charging the management of Archer Village, because it's managed, correct? You all pay whatever you pay a month to some management company?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I'm not trying to mind your business, but if that's the
But
case,
that's the truth. It's the company.
then part of that would be, your waste service, I would presume, or whatever, if it's in your contract when you sign to rent there.
I can find out.
I did ask,
Well, I'm just asking that Mr. Hammond
I did ask him
contact, I'm
to,
sorry, I didn't hear that.
I
Just
did.
contact the management company for Archer Village and find out what are they charging their residents.
yes.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Tangy Green again. Just for the record, I agree with Ms. Welch about them paying. I've said that a couple of years ago. So I agree with her about them paying us for garbage when they have a dumpster. It didn't make sense to me, but I guess we can do whatever we did for the churches. If we had to redo an ordinance or y'all had to vote on it, it's been so long I don't remember.
We're gonna let Mr. Hammond check and find out what's going on and get back with us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so whatever we did, because the businesses don't pay us either anymore for solid waste, so whatever we did for them, it should probably go for the apartment complexes.
Hello.
Hello, Bob Kosicki, citizen of Archer. So you were talking about the stormwater systems and everything else. And I know I drive some of the older roads. I enjoy doing that with some vehicles. And some of them need a little bit of, obviously after a while they get rutted and have whether it's flooding or
Some
just
issues.
water, just issues. Didn't the city buy a grader some time ago?
Yes, we talked about that last month.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
I was just wondering if we could use that on those roads.
We will be.
So we've got it and we already started using
We've
it?
got it. We've started using it yet, but we've got it. We are going to start using it.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, about this with the Maddox Foundry thing. And I'm not gonna talk much about it. The only thing I'm gonna talk about is, that did start, and I've got paperwork to prove that it started in 2022. June, there was a paper that came out. I have these papers and I will provide them. 2022, July 2022, September 2022, it actually had a CUP number on it. November 2022, January 2023, and then we start having meetings. The first meeting, Mr. Arnold missed it because we had it, that was either January or February, and then April was the next one where he finally came and started on this in person. But before that, it was not in person, and it was obviously paperwork that was through the city. And I asked a few times at meetings and talked about this, and all I ever got was, I don't know nothing. Nobody seemed to know nothing, but the paperwork provided that I see as city paperwork shows that it was.
So Tony, did someone apply for Martin? Can I ask that now? Never mind, I'll ask it at the meeting.
I know that it's like, it's hard to not conflate the two issues because we're talking about this one application. My concern is, I don't want us to get into the weeds and have testimony, nobody's under oath, it's quasi judicial, they gotta be under oath. Mr. Arnold, is that what his last name is? Mr. Arnold isn't here to refute any testimony that's given. I just wanna be careful.
Right.
Okay. I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Lori Costello, citizen. The planning and zoning meeting for the cement plant needs to be on the water bills. This is a very important issue for the citizens. This was the best kept secret there ever was in Archer. This is a huge concern. Okay, sorry, I'm reading from this here. This is a huge concern for many citizens, so it needs to be well advertised and not just saying there's a planning and zoning meeting and nobody really knows what that means. It also needs to be advertised in Alachua Today with saying the cement plant is on the agenda. We need a workshop. This affects every citizen here, and it's crucial for everybody to know what's going on. This is just, it's very important. So I'm requesting that this commission give the direction to the city manager to have this properly advertised. The second thing, why wasn't there any advertising done on the qualification dates for the upcoming election? We always have advertised in Alachua Today, and it was on the advertisement about the upcoming election. It was?
Yes,
I
it
looked.
was.
I didn't see it.
Definitely.
What was advertised was the upcoming election. The dates for the qualification period was not advertised. If it was advertised, then you can show me the advertisement, please. And I was going to ask if it's legal that we're not advertising it. I already called City Hall and they said no, they didn't advertise it.
No,
Yes,
I don't, yeah.
Yes, it was advertised.
Okay, I'm talking about the qualification dates. You're saying that was advertised?
I'm pausing you because
Because
I'm
City
looking
Hall
for
told
it.
me it wasn't, and I was gonna ask the attorney if that's legal, because we always advertise that in Alachua Today, always.
But we can't advertise elsewhere. Right?
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be.
It's just gotta be
Sorry.
advertised.
Typically, when we do advertisements, depending on the statute and what it's regarding, but typically the language is something along the lines of, in a newspaper that is locally circulated within the area is the standard boilerplate language, everything from probate to cities to, that's just the typical
Well,
language.
why don't you ask your city manager if it was advertised? And then he can provide me with the advertisement. I've looked in the Alachua Today, it wasn't there. I found the advertisement for the election, the upcoming election, but not the qualification period. Let me know when I can move on to the next
You can
one.
move on.
Okay. And what's going on with, well, you already answered that, what's going on with the water bills. So we got our water bill Friday, it was due Monday. Okay, we have a system that emails, that calls, and that texts. Why aren't we utilizing that for things that citizen needs to know? Well, the water bills are going out late. We have it in place, but you guys think it's emergency when we're having a meeting two weeks away, but don't want to tell anybody about the late water bills. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. Can we get staff to recognize what the citizens actually need to know? I mean, I'm sure they got a lot of phone calls, hey, where's my water bill, what's going on? And that would just eliminate a lot of phone calls.
Are you speaking, Ms. Costello, of Everbridge, if you're signed up for Everbridge
Yes,
for that
I
notice
am.
to be on there? Oh, thank you.
Yep, they email, they text, and something else. I just said it, but, yeah.
I was just thinking Everbridge service.
Yeah, I mean, because we've got them just within days of when the water bill was due. One time I called City Hall, the other time I didn't. But, you know, it creates a lot of phone calls, and they don't need to do that, and a lot of stress for people that's waiting on their water bill to pay it. Well, I'm not going to be home this day, so this day I pay my water bill, and they haven't got it. So it creates a lot of stress on both parties. If they would just use the stuff that we got, it would be great for everybody. The maintenance. I have emailed and asked since last year about certain things to be done. And hardly
Ms.
anything has
Costello,
been
you
done.
are way past your time. That was your time beeping. Go ahead and finish what you're saying, but I want you to
Okay,
move
the
it.
maintenance. Mr. Hammond emailed me after I sent him about glass being all over the sidewalk for 2 months. This is after he's put in his report that they were cleaning sidewalks. And that hasn't been done. Then he sent me a video. The sidewalk has 1.5 inches of dirt on it. And he sends me a video saying that the sidewalk is clean. I was horrified. And for 2 months on the report, it's saying that we patched holes on 143rd. The holes are bigger now than when they first start doing anything. They put gravel in the holes. 2 days, it rained. All the gravel went into our, what's the thing with the grate over it? Stormwater went into, well, not the big stormwater, but the things in the middle, drainage, that's what I'm looking for. All the rocks go in the drainage, and the holes are so much bigger. You should come down 143rd Avenue. I emailed Tony about it. It was a disgrace what they did, and Calvin knows better. And everybody says, well, you can't patch holes on that road. That's not true. Arnold patched holes on that same road 9 years ago, and those patches are still intact. Calvin makes $75,000 a year, and I'm telling you, he knows how to do it right, because he did it under Josie Garcia. So some of these things that are happening from Public Works horrifies me. The slides are still,
Okay, Ms.
Okay,
Costello,
thank
thank you.
No, Ms. Costello, they did patch those holes, and they patched them with coal patch. And 2 months later, the coal patch was gone. You can ask Commissioner Penny, because she saw when they patched it. And it does that very often. You patch it, and 2 months later, it's washed out again.
That's true. I was on that road yesterday. All right, any more public comments during this time? No? Because if not, we're moving on. Planning calendar.
Item A, City Commission meeting on Monday, April the 8th at 6 p.m. City Hall. Item B, joint meeting with the Board of County Commissioners on Monday, April the 15th at 6 p.m. Archer Community Center.
Thank you. All right, old business. Agenda item 1 is to follow up on Orkin third-party termite inspectors report. Are you giving us that? Are you talking about it, Tony?
As best I can.
Okay.
Commissioner Hope asked that this item be placed back on the agenda under old business. Two things happened last week. The USDA came in, who was responsible for the majority of the grant that put the construction of that building together, and they were supposed to do an annual inspection of that building to make sure that that building is being used for what it was intended to be used for. And they came in to do an inspection because they hadn't done one in several years because of COVID and all of this. They went through the building, they went through all of the rooms, all the locker rooms, all the storerooms, upstairs, downstairs, everywhere. And they were thoroughly pleased with everything that they saw. They had 2 items that they were not pleased with, and those items have already been corrected. She did ask me about the termites. I showed her upstairs where they were. She went and looked at the floors, and she said, I don't see any issues with it. I believe she came on Wednesday. Orkin came on Thursday afternoon. You have a small report that he provided you this afternoon. It was an email report from the guy that did the inspection last year, same guy that did the inspection this year. They're doing a thorough report that will be mailed to us later on. He couldn't get that to us today. And basically said that the only thing that he saw up there was a few wings that were still left over that we evidently didn't see when we were vacuuming up there. There is no current activity outside or inside that building. He went all through the downstairs, all through the upstairs, including the audio room, inside the air conditioning room. He inspected everything in that building, and there is no current activity in that building right this moment.
Thank you.
The thing with the drywood termites is they only come once a year, and they don't always come every year. When they swarm, you see them. If they don't swarm, you don't see them. They treated them last year. We may not see them for, I don't know how long. But according to his report, there is no activity in that building at this point. Now, my only other option, if you want me to do it, is to hire another company to go in and provide you another report, which is basically going to say the same thing these did.
I'm good.
Madam Mayor.
Anybody? Yes.
Madam Mayor, the only question, is this the gentleman that did the inspection from last year?
Yes, sir.
And then did the
Same guy.
30-day limited warranty on whatever they treated for in February? of
Same guy.
7th or 9th of 2023. And he's doing a formal report and we'll get it to you, which
He
is
said
more
we should
than,
have it in a couple of days.
which is more than we got last year. So we're at least moving in that, I think, proper direction to have this. Thank you.
Commissioner White?
Madam Mayor, after Commissioner Hope reported on seeing the wings and all, the guys went and cleaned it all up. I was there. I also went back the following week, and there is no sign of, I saw no signs of wing. That's not to say that there's not termites and they haven't dropped their wings yet, I don't know, but I saw nothing, so.
Thank you.
I was up there last week, and I went through it, and I periodically go back through there, and I have not seen anything at all since the guys cleaned everything up there.
Madam Mayor, if I may ask, just not to belabor this old business, but that's why we could have some more old business tonight that needs to come back. So it wasn't in an
Understand.
attack mode. I just think we need to use
Understand.
that segment of our outline if we have something that's ongoing. So that's the purpose and me making sure that this got on there. Will he address, because he briefly says it here, and I appreciate the email, but there are, again, not to belabor our citizens who are patiently sitting here tonight, but there are 2 types of termites that could be in this building at any time. Those with the wings that come back every year in spring and get all excited and then do their business and leave. That can be not as damaging as the subterranean termites. So he is inspecting for the subterranean termites as well.
Yes, he had the subterranean.
Which are the ones that come up through the foundation and build a little burrowing.
Yeah.
I've learned more about, between my
There's never
church,
been any evidence of
150-year-old church, and my house now, it's 117 years. But the subterranean termites are the ones that can really do damage if you
And
don't
there's-
have that annual
There's
inspection,
never been any evidence of subterranean termites.
active or inactive.
Correct.
Since it was renovated, okay.
Yep.
And would you
I will,
take the time to please pick up the phone with him, and when he puts his report in there, make sure he addresses inspecting for both types of termites, because I'm more concerned about something we haven't had down there, but that's an old building with a foundation that, this is those baitings that they treat around the outside and all that with this Centricon and all that, and that's the only thing that prevents the subterranean termites, but make sure he reports on both activities. When
Talk to him in the morning.
on every report, if we're gonna maintain a contract with Orkin at this point. I think it's real important with the older buildings, the senior citizen building as well, because that's an old building. Subterranean and the spring flyers, or whatever they're called.
Yes, sir.
There's another name for them, but, okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Was that it? Okay, so before we go to new business, I did text Deanna because I couldn't remember the name of what the subject name was in the email when I was asking her about qualifying. And she said that we did do the ad. The ads don't have qualification dates in it. The information was on the website that she explained this to Ms. Costello. She told Tony she could try to put it in the ad for the next election, but that is not how they have been listed. All right, so new business.
Mayor, I need to know whether that's legal or not, that we didn't post any qualification dates.
And I was gonna say, I gave her that information, we can deal with that at the next comment period, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Thank you. New business. Agenda item 1, proclamation, March 2024, as Problem Gambling Awareness. So, I don't know, do you guys want to talk about this? This came to me in, I think it was in my email, and I saw it, and I sent it over to the city. I don't really know whether this is a problem in our area or not. So what do you guys think? And there is a copy of the proclamation in your packet.
I don't know how big a problem it is in Archer.
Mm-hmm.
I think though, if you look at the lottery tickets in the garbage cans, it's quite a problem.
How many of them are yours? How many are yours?
And I ain't none mine. I don't buy lottery tickets.
Yeah. So the email was asking us if we would claim March 2024 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month. And we're a team, so as a team, is this something we want to do? And I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to read it.
I did. I don't have a problem with doing it if you're not gonna read this whole proclamation.
But if I decide to read the entire thing,
Then I don't think we need it. No, I'm kidding.
I was just bothering you. All right, so is that a motion or no?
I will make a motion to accept the proclamation.
All right, well, so we had a motion by Commissioner White. I don't know why your name keep escaping me tonight. And a second by Commissioner Green. Next time, don't forget to turn on your microphone. But I got you. I got you. All right, Commissioner discussion.
I think timing is such, Madam Mayor, that we should support this, because there are small communities like ours in Alachua County that are starting to see the
Effects.
vaping combination with gambling that's unbeknownst to those unless you go into vape. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay. Is that all? Public discussion on the motion. All right, so seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Number 2, resolution number 2024-06, statewide mutual aid agreement with the state of Florida, Division of Emergency Management.
Madam Mayor, this is resolution number 2024-06, a resolution of the City of Archer, Florida, approving that certain statewide mutual aid agreement with the State of Florida Division of Emergency Management, authorizing the state and political subdivisions to provide emergency aid and assistance, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor and to execute and bind to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing for an effective date.
I will make a motion to accept resolution number 2024-06.
Where's that microphone? We had a motion by
second that, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner White and a second by Commissioner Hope. Commissioner discussion.
Mayor,
Yes.
I add that this is a replacement for a mutual aid agreement that we did have with the state. The state had revised the previous one, and that's why this one's before you right now.
Okay.
It's a mutual aid in case of a hurricane or some kind of natural disaster where we can provide aid to another community or another community can provide that mutual aid to us.
Okay. Thank you. Public discussion on the motion. All right, seeing none, all in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 3, resolution number, hold on here, 24-07, approving that certain agreement, IPO number 002-24, with Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc., for Archer Archer Water System Improvement Design and Permitting, and it stopped.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, this is resolution number 2024-07, a resolution of the City of Archer, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated for Archer Water System Improvements, Design and Permitting, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Vice Mayor. Commissioner discussion? Any commissioner discussion?
Amen.
No? Public discussion on the motion?
Bill Lewandowski, citizen, is there a projected date when all the improvements are going to be finished as part of this agreement? Or is it just a general agreement, or is there a projected end date when all this is going to be done?
I believe that's what it is, but I will get you a date on it.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I heard October or December, and I don't remember which of this year.
I feel like
That's soon.
December,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
Certainly, I don't think the actual improvements would be made by that time. It's possible that the design and permitting could be completed by October or November.
I've been telling people because I have been telling people that we would have wastewater in Archer by the end of the year because that's what I understood her to say.
This is not waiting.
This is not wastewater. Yeah.
Oh, stormwater, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I'm
drinking coffee water yet.
Well, I'm looking at the wastewater, I thought. Gotcha. I apologize.
That's okay.
I'm
That's
sorry.
all right.
And Madam Mayor, to that effect, with Mr. Spar present, It's been, I think, a town hall meeting or two ago when Felicity gave just an outline of the different grant projects. We, not tonight, put you on the spot, Mr. Sparber. Could you have that provided next month? The different grant funding and this that we just approved tonight and what the anticipated start and finish day would be? Because the citizens are always interested to know where we at.
So I talked
rightly so.
to Felicity about us doing a meeting to bring all of that information and only focus on those projects, yes.
Because in respect to any citizens that haven't been coming, we have gone from 1 and 2 grants a year to we actively, Mr. Hammond, correct me, I think we have 11 grant projects to that effect right now open.
Pretty close to it.
And so as your public servants, sometimes we get quite overwhelmed and, the comments and the dialogues from citizens are rightly so, but we are actively trying to provide a lot of grant sourcing for a lot of opportunities for improvements in Archer. So, thank you.
Yeah, so just to be clear, this is strictly for water distribution. So this, we're talking about the fresh water.
Clean water.
Clean water, okay, so this is clean water distribution, we're not talking about the sewer, we're not talking about wastewater, okay. And so the contract is to work on the grant and get the specifications, it's not the actual work itself to improve the system. So there's no projected date for that. All right, thank you.
Just grant sourcing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like mine better.
All right, seeing no more comments, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Resolution number 2024-08, agreement between the city and Pyrotechnical Fireworks, Inc. for a fireworks display on July 6th.
Madam Mayor, before I read the resolution, I just want to let you guys know that I just brought it in the form of a resolution in case you all wanted to approve the agreement tonight. We'd have the tracking mechanism to approve the agreement.
Okay.
This is resolution number 2024-08, a resolution of the City of Archer, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and Pyrotechnico Fireworks Incorporated for a firework display to be given on July 6, 2024. Making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing for an effective date.
All right.
For the sake of discussion, I make that motion, Madam Mayor.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Commissioner White.
I haven't looked at this contract because it just came before us.
Okay.
I know that you're going to try and make some changes.
Right, there were some things we asked for.
Paragraph 4 will speak to the changes as opposed to this ambiguous, it's half, it's 3/4. Tony and I got with them and we said essentially our commission needs to see numbers. They pride themselves on understanding facts and figures. Having this mysterious cloud of what it's going to cost isn't going to work for them.
Okay.
So you'll see in paragraph 4, the additional expense in the event that they essentially laid out 2 paths for us on cancellations. One is which they're able to tell in advance that, we're going to have a monsoon, and they can't do it. If the truck hasn't left the facility, moving it just charges the $2,645 extra. If the truck has left the facility, then it's the $6,720 extra in the event that we want to move it.
I'm going to ask that we table this till the next meeting. I want to look at this, and I don't think I've got time tonight.
And Madam Legal Counsel and Madam Mayor, my question lies in, I'm going to rely on, our call is one thing, but on these pyrotechnic specialists on the day of the event, if the weather declines to a point that they say we can't do it, what is that agreement if they call that shot?
So my understanding is the way that the contract is written as it stands, that is their decision in terms of, I see what you're saying. The numbers stay the same. At that point, in the scenario you're setting forth, theoretically, they're there, gonna give the show.
We have the weather.
And the weather
on
goes
and off,
nuts.
on and off, but
It's the $6,720 to
they
move
call
it.
that shot.
Correct.
Sorry.
He did tell us, and I'm not advocating one way or the other, you know me, I'm just telling you. He told Tony and I think he said that in all the years they've been doing it, they've only canceled shows a handful of times.
They will perform their shows in rain unless it's thundering and lightning really bad.
And you know how weather is, what was it, year before last, it rained and then it cleared up,
Yeah.
and they performed, you know, but.
I don't know.
Madam Mayor, my motion remains, even though Commissioner White has a second motion to table this.
Well, Commissioner White, second your motion that we haven't.
Discussion.
So did you retract?
No, but I'm not voting for it. I'm just saying,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Commissioner White, I just meant the motion is, and the second is on the table, so.
These are yours. And I speak on this together. I didn't see that.
I mean, oh, you don't have a new packet? That was up here.
Oh.
It was.
I think I took yours, Commissioner Green, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know what I did with it.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
the determination to cancel the show because of inclement or unsafe weather conditions shall rest within the sole discretion of Pyrotechnico. I've got a real problem with that. I do.
They wouldn't change that language. That was language Tony and I asked about. So we did advocate for that, just so everyone's aware.
Well, I don't want our citizens out in the lightning, and they may say they don't do it, but if they get an extra $8,350 to do it, then they might. And no, I'm sorry. And that's just one thing I just
understand.
looked at, so.
All right, anything else? No? Public discussion on the motion.
Bob Kosicki, citizen. Yeah, I don't know what the legal things are anymore. I've been away from fireworks, the professional fireworks, for a while. And I'm not sure, normally there are conditions that have to be met. And that is from the company itself as well as regulation. The fire marshal gets involved also. And normally they make a decision based on all those things as well. And obviously they can't shoot in any heavy weather, heavy rain, or lightning. You just can't. I mean, they do cover it, they cover them, they're always covered with either foil or whatever, so that even if it rains a little and it stops, they can fire through it. There's not a problem with that. But it's if it's actually physically coming down, and because everything's electronic fired, first of all, and then you've got the pyrotechnics involved. So it really depends. I would want to know what the stipulations are really written down. What stipulations are they giving you that say we will continue to fire unless these provisions are met, and then we're not going to. And maybe that being with the city manager, who's really in charge of the city at that time, and saying, hey, here, we're going to talk safety, and here's why we can't do it or won't do it or whatever, and make that an agreement between them two people, the guy in charge of it and the city manager, who's in charge of the safety of the city, basically. And as long as they agree to get that, well, then, they're working together and making this either happen or not happen. And for the unhappen reasons, they would be considerable for that not to happen. That's just my thoughts on that.
And based on what Mr. Kosicki is saying, Madam Mayor, it would be the difference with the autonomy of the city manager between $2,000 and $8,000. If a storm front was moving through and it didn't look like it was going to clear, we'd just change the date to the next try-me date. I mean, that's the common sense logical thing that Tony would probably do. And we might have to pay $2,000, but we wouldn't pay $8,000 if we looked at it from a 48-hour standpoint or wherever they're coming from. Where are they coming from, Virginia or?
St. Pete, I think.
Oh, it's Florida.
Yeah, it's a northern company, but they've got bases all over the state of Florida, and they.
Microphone.
That's the same.
But from a meteorological standpoint.
Microphone.
Oh,
That's
And I'm not
okay.
a meteorologist, but we certainly can see weather fronts moving through and whether it's just an afternoon storm to clear up or whether it's a front. So I think we could determine that and be able to save the money. That's my opinion.
Thank you. All right, additional public comments. All right, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise.
Aye.
All right. I don't know, was that 3-2 or 2, 3
Yeah,
to
I
2?
want Mayor Commissioner White agreeing.
Yeah, I was with
Okay.
the opposed.
Okay. So let me write that. Motion failed. 2-3.
I will make a
All right.
motion to table it until the next meeting and ask, excuse me, that specifically, and I haven't even looked at it, so if I can get back to y'all? Okay.
Do we have that much time?
I don't know.
No, because it says the 14th, which is like Thursday, I think.
We've already passed our deadline once.
We passed the date last month when we tabled it.
Their deadline to me was tomorrow, so I'll talk to them and see.
Well, I can't agree with this, I'm sorry. Y'all can do what you want. I would love to have fireworks, but it has the potential to cost us $24,000. And I don't, more than that. 16.5 and 8.3. What's that? 24?
All right.
Whatever y'all decide.
Well, that was the motion, unless we have another motion. No? All right, then we're moving on. Agenda item 5, resolution number 2024-9, which is the opposition to Newberry Elementary, Oakview Middle School, and Newberry High School becoming charter schools. So I saw the T-shirts coming in. Nice T-shirts, by the way. Tyler, and I can't remember his last name, but Tyler contacted me this past week. It was a really busy weekend, but we had a conversation about my views and how I felt about it, and he wanted to know if he and some of the parents could come to the meeting, and if I would introduce a resolution to you guys to vote no, or that's basically what it is saying. But since we have our group here, would anybody like to come and speak to us?
Madam Mayor, would you like me to read the resolution into the record?
You could read the resolution.
Okay. Or do you want to do like a presentation and then do a resolution? I don't mind.
No, you can go ahead and read it, and then he can come on up.
Okay. This is resolution number 2024-09, a resolution of the City of Archer, Florida, opposing the conversion of Newberry Elementary School, Oakview Middle School, and Newberry High School to charter schools and affirming the value of public education, repealing all resolutions in conflict and establishing an effective date.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, before he does that, in the resolution, it has, should that not say to charter conversion schools? Because there is a difference. I'm learning a lot. And also, there is a place, where it discusses the city of Newberry. There it is. Whereas the proposed plan would allow the boundaries of the new school zone to be dictated by the city commission. They've changed that again. It is now going to be by 3 appointed people from the city commission, one from Archer and one from the group that started it.
Okay,
So,
so 3 from the Newberry City
the
Commission.
city commission, no, the city commission will appoint 3 people. The city of
That's what
Archer will appoint 1, not commissioners, not commissioners.
No,
Okay.
the City of Newberry Commission is going to appoint 3.
Right.
That's what I was asking.
The city of
Maybe I wasn't-
Newberry is going to appoint 3.
Okay.
We're going to appoint 1. And Newberry First Initiative, is that what it's called? Will appoint 1.
Okay.
Which is the rural representative, correct?
Not necessarily.
All right.
Who appoints that 5th person?
I don't know.
I can answer the question.
Oh,
The 5th member of the proposed governing board would be appointed by the 501c4 political action group. Excuse me,
The board?
by the board of the 501c4 political action group.
Which is the 3 City of Newberry Commissioners?
no.
No, it's the group that's doing it.
Newberry First Initiative, I believe is what they're
The
called.
governing board doesn't exist yet, so right now there's a 501, there's the board of the 501c4 that is pushing the charter school. Initially, the Board of City Commissioners was going to be the governing board of the charter by virtue of them sitting on the commission. But now it's going to be, the proposal is 3 appointed by the Newberry City Commission, 1 appointed by the Archer City Commission, and 1 appointed by the 501c4 Political Action Committee.
Anyway, I just wanted you to know about those changes in there, and the rest of it looks great.
Well, Madam Mayor, I can bring back y'all's changes from tonight to the next meeting to have it ratified,
Okay.
you know, with the updated information that y'all request.
Yes, ma'am. That's fine. You can come on and talk to us. Don't forget, if you don't mind, tell us your name.
Idea, and we can vote on it. And let me understand, we can vote on it tonight to pass it.
Yeah, you'll just make a verbal motion essentially, and then the resolution is just, you know, solidifying for ceremonial reasons. Your opposition or lack thereof can be a verbal motion tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Bobby Murmer. I am a friend and colleague to Tyler Forst, who unfortunately could not be here tonight because he had a work meeting that was not able to be rescheduled. And he is working with the Save Our Schools Newberry group for free. So he had to unfortunately be at the work meeting. I'm also helping with Save Our Schools Newberry. We have several Save Our Schools Newberry members here, including a board member, Brandy Ullman, who will come and also speak on this motion. So I just wanted to introduce the group, Save Our Schools Newberry. We are a group of parents of children in the Newberry schools, teachers in the Newberry schools, and also people like me who do not have children and are not teachers, but do not appreciate when false promises that have really no teeth behind them are being made to fool people into thinking that somehow they are going to get a better deal from some outside group that we do not know. So Save Our Schools Newberry asks you to support this resolution. We would be very thankful if we had the City of Archer's support, especially in light of them trying to buy off the Archer community by 1 seat versus their 3. You know, we do not disagree that there can be improvements made at these schools. There can be improvements made at any school. But we need to work within the current system. We need to keep these schools public. We need to ensure that every resident of the city of Newberry, every resident of the city of Archer, residents of the rural areas in between Archer and Newberry, residents of the suburban areas such as Jonesville, all have an opportunity to send these children, have all of the opportunity to send their children to public schools and know what they're going to get and work within the current elected school board to improve those schools and ensure continuing to receive a great education from our great teachers over at Newberry Elementary School, Oakview Middle School, and Newberry High School. So welcome, or thank you for welcoming us, and thank you for putting this resolution on the agenda. And now I'm going to turn it over to some parents of Newberry students. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Brandy Oldman, and I have 3 little ones that go to Newberry Elementary. I live in the city limits of Newberry, right behind the municipal building.
Okay.
And I also want to side with y'all there. This initiative it's bad. It's bad for our students. It's exclusionary. They haven't brought any, said what their curriculum changes are going to be. They haven't said what their discipline things are going to be. They haven't said what our tax things are going to be. They haven't said any of that. So I would appreciate it if y'all would support the resolution. And if I see the writing on the wall, I think y'all can all see it too. It's going to be exclusionary. So I don't know what else to say. I'm nervous, but I do want to comment. Y'all are not much nicer than Newberry's commission.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then it's probably
I'm Kelly Oldman. I have a kindergartner in Newberry Elementary as well. I really just come to you guys to ask if there's any way y'all can reach out to our community. Y'all know people there. Y'all have kids, grandkids, great-grandkids maybe that attend our schools. They have friends there. We didn't have a lot of time to really gather our bearings about this, so it's taken everybody a couple weeks to process everything and try and get our game plan together. And we don't have big money backing our goal like they do, so we need word of mouth. We need people talking. We need to get this going. The vote is coming up fast, and we don't have much time. And there's a lot of unanswered questions from the people who started this, and it's a lot.
Yes, it is.
We were up till 2 o'clock in the morning making shirts. I work 40, 60, 80 hours a week sometimes. We went out with the hour we had to spare today before knocking on doors, passing out flyers, trying to get to people, A lot of people just don't know what's going on. And I think, was it the guy that started the initiative one night was like, I don't know if you live under a rock. And honestly, I do. I do. I do. I work so much and I have so much other stuff going on. I do live under a rock. So until she brought it up to me, I had no clue what was going on, honestly, And then the way that they snuck it in, it's been it's sneaky. And I feel like it's underhanded. We need some help from some people, some voices. So that's what I want from you guys. If y'all can reach out to the people that you know in our community and try and get this conversation started on our side.
Yes, ma'am.
They've had a long time to conversate about it, and we haven't, and we don't have much longer.
Correct.
So.
Well, I did talk to a couple people from Newberry about it because I was curious as well about how Newberry was feeling about it. But I also felt like I was blindsided by it and that it happened way too fast. So let me disclose the fact that I am a School Board of Alachua County employee since 1995. Never worked in Newberry though. My kids went to Oakview Middle School. And then they went to Buchholz High School where I was working at the time. I love charter schools. However, I don't think that it's appropriate to take over the system that is already in place. When I heard pieces of it, my first thought was, why? If you want to start a charter school in Newberry, you start a charter school and you can do whatever ages you would like to do. So I do understand how some of the emotions you guys may be having. There's nothing wrong with those schools. However, I have a problem with you taking over or trying to take over an entity that is already in place. Now, I think it's going to be a fight with the school board. Not sure, because I haven't heard a lot. I was told that one of the school board members has put out some information, or maybe it was Jackie Johnson, releasing information so that everybody in the community could catch up. But I have a feeling that school board is not going to let it go down really easy. So, yeah. But
I think Jackie Johnson has been told by her lawyer to kind of tone it down on social media, a lot of kind of harsh things at them. I just want to say, when we were door knocking today, that some people don't even know that you don't need to be a registered voter to vote for this. So I think that's concerning, and we need to get the word out on that.
Okay.
And I don't think that the school board or Lassie County can stop it necessarily. They can deny it, but then there's an appeals process that goes to the state, and that's what worries me. So I do think they stack the deck accordingly, and I do think they'll get the elementary school.
They may.
I'm hoping that there's enough outside votes for the middle school and high school to not get it. But I have elementary school students right now, so that's, But I do have a daughter that she graduated from Newberry High School, and she's in her third year of medical school. So I think our schools are good, and they're not a train wreck like they're saying. They're not. And yeah, please support us. Help us out, because we don't know what we're doing.
yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor,
They know what they're doing.
Yes,
I don't.
ma'am.
I'm having to charge my phone twice a day now. And I appreciate that. I've given all of the signs away that I got, and
You have signs?
I have some. And,
Are we no longer
I
on public,
fully support this.
I'm lost. Are we no longer on public participation?
No. Yes.
Are y'all over?
you're good. No, you're good.
Oh, I thought she was leaving.
I'm tired of hearing it.
It's still something to look at them. I'm not gonna change.
She gets tired of hearing it. It's the same. But anyway, yes, I do fully support the no. And we'll do whatever y'all need me to do. This has the potential,
There you go.
this has the potential to take out 2/3 of our students. And they're saying the city limits of Archer, that's 2 square miles. Now, we have a lot more, but the kids would be in 2 square miles. That leaves out Archer Road to 346, all those back in those hills and woods. It leaves out all those that go to that are between here and Bronson, and some of them in Bronson. We have some kids that have a Archer address in Bronson that go to Archer. Now, they're gone probably anyway. To Williston, both 241, and the only people that are safe are the people inside of Newberry and maybe 6 miles out on 241.
According to our lawyer, we're not even safe in the city.
You probably aren't, but at any rate, that's where, yeah, I'm in full support of this resolution.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna wait for our mayor to get back, but I guess not.
Go ahead.
Okay, is that something to add if you wanna follow with the mayor?
Sure.
Sorry.
Sure.
She's right behind.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Oh, well, no, I wanted him to have a chance to speak before everybody, that's all. I thought we- Oh, no, I was just thinking, because somebody brought up somebody brought up the geographic zoning, and yes, we are working with an attorney who does, whose understanding of the law is that under this conversion charter school scheme, which is different than a charter within a municipality, they would not be able to restrict admission based on geography. So it would have to be based on the lottery system. So the city of Archer, the students in the city of Archer would not be safe. Neither would the students in the city of Newberry, for that matter.
All right.
So that's an important thing to note. And it's also important to note that all of this is just a proposal, and the governing board, if this goes through, the governing board could change it, and the city of Newberry Commission gets to appoint a majority of that governing board.
Correct. Anyway,
Thank you. Now the mayor's back.
all right.
Make sure you have
Thank you. So I'm going to come with a little bit different perspective, and I know you all are proposing a motion, and it's the hot potato today, and I'm not wearing a T-shirt.
It's okay. We like that one.
However, I like data, or data. I like facts. I like evidence. I've also been in the classroom. And so when I come before you with facts and evidence, and the attorney will talk about we have to rule on facts and evidence. It's important what's before us. I also believe what people do and not what they say. And so why do I say all that to say this? Because here is also the real deal. I think that while we want to say no and we vote no, I hate to say this, but I'm not going to be I want to profile up here, but I want to say to you all, I think this is just the beginning. And I think we're just getting warmed up. Why do I know that? Because here's the real deal. While you all have the same energy up here about voting no on this, and that's the easy thing to do, here's the other thing that we don't like to do that I like to say, because I look at what is. When I have a system and I have ninth graders that don't know continents, that don't know the oceans, that's a problem. That's something you learn in third grade. When I have third graders that cannot write, and I picked up whatever just fell, when I have third graders that are not being taught coding, how to write their name, and then when I have children that look like some of you and me that are in there that are not on grade level, 98% of them in this county, I don't think that's a school system that's doing well. When 19% of black children, poor white children, are illiterate in this county, I don't call that a great school system. You might call that. Let me give you an example of also, I as a black person in this country have traveled throughout this country, not just here in Alachua County or I've left Florida. I've seen black folks that thrive. I've seen black communities that are doing well, very well. And it's not like this. None that don't have to, none that needs to seek the validation of mediocrity. But for some reason in this community, we like to go toward mediocrity. We think that that's the best thing going. Like, hey, I want to pay a guy $182,000 a year at the school board for mediocrity. And we all go, yay, because he's bringing stability. Stability to what? And then when we go to our local churches or what have you, and we have these meetings that are called Save Our Schools. What system are we saving? Are we saving where we're pushing our children toward the criminal justice system, where they cannot read, they don't know where they're going? Tell me, what are we saving? Now, what does that have to do with this? What it has to do with is, because I can talk and chew gum at the same time. And both things can also be true. I don't have to like this, but I also am not going to sit up here and act like everything is all fine with this system, because it is not fine. And this system is failing. And I'm to the point where being involved, and people say, well, what have you done? And I find it interesting when I have other black men come to me and say, what I done? I took an $80,000 paycheck to go volunteer. What did you do? Don't tell me about what it is I saw. And there's very few people that are black men in the school system, very few. True. That's a fact. Hate to tell you. So when I have my friends and colleagues that might be behind me, that might be at the progressive slant, I get it. I'm okay with that. But you can't police my voice and tell me how to speak, especially when I've been involved in it. And much less when I have a chair of the school board involved with one of the people that are on that governing board that's part of a system that doesn't necessarily like people that look like me. You're saying this system is fine. I say we need to question the current system, because when we vote no, what else are we going to do? Because we still have to vote for school board members. We still have to vote for all these things, and still nothing changes, and more stays the same. So Mayor Bailey, I'm just going to say this to you. I appreciate the commitment. I appreciate what you're saying, and I appreciate all of you standing up and having the energy to say no. The other thing we need to say no to is a $182,000 man that continues to bully and beat up and tell you that Tina Certain is the devil. But we're going to pass schools that are going to put black children and promote de jure segregation by having a prison school simply because one of the board members wants to monetize it. How do you save children when you can't even pronounce the word?
That is correct. So, I do agree that they are not perfect schools, and many of them are not. They're trying to bring them up, but there are a few in the county that are pretty good schools. I also agree that the black and brown kids have suffered in these schools. So yeah, but I'm talking about the ones that I actually have had a hand in seeing from the schools that I've been involved in. So this is what I've seen. I feel like as an educator, it's my job to help every kid that I can from where they are. And I don't think that that is always happening. It happens at certain schools. But now, is it right to go into an entity and take it? No. That's my position on that. And I stand firm on it. That does not mean that the school board of Alachua County is perfect, because it's not. And I do believe that some of that money down at the county office needs to go to the schools. And if it was going to the schools, we will have the help that we need. But because many of them are getting a lot of the taxpayers' money, we can't get paras where we need them. We can't get teachers where we need them. Or we can't get enough teachers that are good teachers that are going to help the kid to grow from where they are. So that's my point. Go ahead, Ms. Costello.
Lori Costello, citizen. I'm requesting you all to table this. It seems like only a select few is here that has been in contact with the mayor. Didn't get put on the agenda till today, and you need to hear it from both sides.
We did.
Okay? We have. Okay, but it has not been on the agenda before. Both sides here before you pass this resolution. You know, you just can't put it on Monday and then pass a resolution when a lot of people had no idea you were going to do this because it just got put on the agenda today. Whether you're for it or against it, you have to be fair to everybody, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking you to table it and put it on the agenda in a timely manner so that everybody has a chance to come to the commission and speak. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The voting process may be over by the time we meet again.
Well, then have a special meeting, but everybody should be able
Madam
to
Mayor,
attend.
we had a public meeting last week.
We have.
Yes, we did.
We've had a couple.
We've had Facebook things, we've had the news. I mean, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about it.
Everybody knows about it, but they don't.
Ms. Costello, let her speak, please. Thank you.
Everybody knows about it. I have talked to several people. Like I said, my phone goes all the time anymore. So I know, I'm almost certain, the majority of people in Archer are against this. And I'm not ready to take it.
Thank you. Did you have something?
Yes, and I wanted to say I did know what Commissioner White has said, and if the other group or, if the Yes Committee wanted to come, they could have done the same thing that these people have done. They could come, ask to be put on the agenda. They could have been here tonight as well. So it's not like we've denied anybody from coming. They had the same opportunity. Thank you.
I also want to bring something else to your attention. For those out there that think it is easy, I want to bring something to your attention, that it's easy to operate a charter school. I know the owner of a charter school, and she is no longer operating a charter school. She retired. She taught 27 years at a formal school called J.J. Finley, which is no longer what it's called now. She operated a charter school for 20 years. It was called Genesis Preparatory. And her name is Charmaine Henry. And she told me, she laughs, she thinks it's funny. Her operating budget was around $500,000. Why am I bringing this to your attention? Because they don't have to provide transportation.
Right.
We know what people value, and I think I said this to you, to Vice Mayor Penny and some others that may have been in the sound of my voice. We know what governments value by what they spend their money on and their budget, just like you all. It's something new. Those of us that are members of the ICMA, and I think Tony Hammond, the city manager over there, might be a member of that. He knows, yeah, see, look, see, we know that. We know that's a norm. We know what we're supposed to do. I find it interesting that the folks that are in power would not release their budget, that it's some secret thing. And see, that's the problem. I think that the rollout was bad. I'm not saying that, I also support the idea of charter schools, but the way that this was rolled out, when I was in the Army, I'm a plain-spoken person. When I was in the military for 8 years, we talked about things being black and white. And sometimes I also know there's now a touch of gray. But it's important for us to, you cannot build truth coming from behind. You have to build that up front. And all of us here are questioning the very integrity. These may be very well-intentioned folks. I don't know. I try to assume people are coming to the table with good intentions. I'm not here to question their intentions. I'm here to question their actions. Right. I have no vote. Let me be very clear. I live in East Gainesville. I have no vote. What I do have is knowledge. What I do have is understanding. What I do is read budgets all day long. And this just made me go, like old Arsenio Hall, And so what I say to you all today is, I want us to pay attention to the not the magic and the big face like in the Wizard of Oz. I want to pay attention to the person behind the curtain. And the person behind the curtain is also still the school board. It's still the school board. Our accountability is holding them accountable just like we're holding these folks accountable. And I also want us to start doing that. We can talk and chew gum because we cannot go another year when we have bus drivers not picking up our children, when a system with a lot more resources than this proposed budget can barely pick up children. We expect them with less resources to pick up our children? I say not. So I'm asking all of you to pay attention to the person behind the curtain. We hold both accountable equally. Okay? Thank you. I will not get up anymore.
Sorry, one more thing. Thank you, Mr. Grundy. I just want to point out that Mr. Grundy's points are well taken, and SOS Newberry has, as of last week, for example, put out a statement, and we have called on the school board to sit down with both representatives of Save Our Schools Newberry as well as representatives of the Yes Newberry campaign to go walk through and discuss the voting process for when the teachers and the parents vote, because we do recognize that the school board can do better. We both agree on that, and we also know that the school board needs to be held to account for problems that do exist, especially at Newberry Elementary and Newberry High School. So I did want to apologize to Mr. Grundy if he thought our position was all. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. All right, commissioners.
Did we already have a motion in a second? I'm sorry.
We did not have a motion yet. We read the resolution and then I allowed them to talk to us about, yes.
And so we're now going to have a motion possibly or not, or die for lack of?
Yes.
Okay. And before we get into that action, actions are stronger than words. You're absolutely right. I'm like the lady in the audience that lives under a rock with things like this, even though I'm your public servant. But, when you entrust in an administrative body of education like our county administration, you don't like what you see, you vote, they're happy, out. And that's the process that we use. And like you said, sir, I think we've been doing that for about 10 or 12 years, and it's not working like we would like to. I see a decline because I know I have, associates and members that I work with up here in this dais that are wonderful educators, and that's the end of my story on that. What concerns me with the under the rock idea is I did not attend the meeting last week that was hosted by Commissioner White, or you facilitated just making sure the event hall was available. I did attend the meeting before that, 3.5 hours, over two, and I counted, on a little piece of paper, I don't have it for record, but over 200 questions were asked.
Great questions, may I add.
And every one of them was a valid question. My concern is I am not a telephone ringy-dingy like Commissioner White that stays on her phone, and that's her method, and I respect her for it, because I wouldn't have the patience. I'd die of a heart attack, because I'm just not a telephone person. You all know that I'm antiquated and still use a flip phone, so you can't get me unless you call me and leave me a message. But my son lives in Newberry with 3 children. My other son lives in Archer with 1 left in the elementary school, and 2 at Oakview, 1 about to go to Newberry High School. Everything is done by posting and Facebooking and group texting, and it is unbelievable. And I've only just seen, both my daughter-in-laws coming at me because they're for it. And they keep saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm the grandpa. I am just trying to absorb information. So, not to belabor my conversation here, but my concern with all of this is that there has been, like I said, over 200 questions at the meeting before this one. And I'm supposed to go somewhere to try, and the commitment to try to answer those questions from 2 weeks ago when we had that open forum. Have we gotten answers on those things with clarity?
No.
And again, I'm not trying to put y'all on the stand here, but for me to be a public servant in Archer and even go, and I'm the guy that goes door to door when we were, 20 years of wastewater planning and all that, whether you want it or don't, there's value in the facts. Show me the money. Sorry, Home Depot, but show me the budget. Show me, and if you can't, then the answer is, we don't know. And that's the answer for that question. I mean, that was just one that kept being presented. The other thing was this bullseye concentric circle thing that kept going from 6 to 8 miles, but certainly cutting out everybody after that.
Right.
And my question, I didn't get it because I didn't want to, we went through it, 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours, and, it's one of the guy didn't have a heart attack. He did the best job he could, and had, Mayor Marlowe, smacking and wanting to go, and that's just the way Mayor Marlowe is, and I respect that as well, because you get exhausted. But where are these answers coming from that are in a documented form? Because I'm a paper guy. I want that. Here's the question, here's the answer, to be able to walk the streets. There's only 1,400 of us in Archer, total population. There's only 500 probably, Ms. Costello, you keep up with this, 500 residences that we could walk to give this information to. The lady from Archer Village or whatever, whether she could vote or not, that word of mouth is so important. And so I'm not challenging you guys, but I'm asking you guys as quickly as we can we get that in a documented form and be able to present it so it's...
The yes side, can we get their stuff in documented format, you mean in paper?
Yeah. With the questions that we have as the naysayers or those that
They have a
you
website,
dedicated people that stood up there for hours.
no documents. They provided nothing like that.
And the questions you all had from 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but
No.
did you get answers on your Facebook postings and all
He's a
that?
very good public speaker, and he steps around.
But vague.
Yeah.
For the under the rock people like you
And they
I.
don't know, and you need to vote for this, and then we'll let you know, is what a lot of the answers
And I'm not trying to
were.
belabor this part of the process, but it matters
I
not.
was asking for the kind of memos that we're already working on. I think that's what he's
From us?
the stuff that we're already working on.
And I'm certainly not trying to put you on the spot, sir. But I'm saying somebody.
You have some.
A guy with 6 grandchildren, and I'm a public servant up here about to look at a resolution or whatever. I want to know how many of the appropriate questions, or over 200 from 2 weeks ago, were asked that we have answers for.
So,
from this group.
A couple to answer, Madam Mayor, if I may, to answer the Commissioner's question, Madam Mayor. I know we're supposed to speak to the Chair. Madam Mayor, it's important to know that some of the questions get answered, but it's kind of like a Lincoln Douglas debate.
It sure
When you
is.
go to it, and we talk a lot about a lot of things, and I talk about, the sky is blue, the glass, oh, squirrel. So it's kind of like that. Your questions get answered, but they really don't get answered. So they're answered, but are they? I don't know, maybe, kind of, sort of.
one, but then we're with the big face on the door and not the guy behind.
Again, pay attention to the person behind the, there you go.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
But even that could be an answer of only 1 year proposal, and then don't know what the charter board will decide thereafter. That would take, to me, that would carry a lot of weight. If it was on a piece of paper with a 1 year answer and unknown, it's like, which warranty do you want for the refrigerator? Well, we warranty it for 1 year, but we don't know if it'll run after that. Well, let me keep it full.
And that's exactly.
Yeah, they-
I'm sorry, I'm using elementary examples, but it's the same thing.
I get you. No, and we've touched on that with them. They basically said there's nothing that they can give us concrete information or guarantees on until we pass it. And I'm not okay with that risk.
And we've heard that from our government with
Yeah,
documents.
it's every
We'll sign
politician,
it,
right?
and
We'll
we'll
do
read
this
it
and let's
after.
pass it and we'll go
I'm
through.
not getting political here, but, how valuable is that?
Well, they use a bunch of adjectives, it's great, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great, but it's gonna be the same, but it's gonna be better, and
Right.
it's a
That's what
bunch
they
of,
say.
I don't wanna go there.
Because, again, you all have a budget every year. You all pass a budget every year, or every 2 years if you're on a 2 year budget cycle. You cannot go to the folks, okay, 1 year budget cycle, thank you, Madam Mayor. You cannot go to your folks and residents and say, I need my infrastructure needs to be fixed, my sewer system might need it. I know about that whole discussion too. But I cannot, as public officials, we cannot say, we're gonna let you know about it later. It doesn't work that way.
We'll take care of it.
But all of a sudden now, because I remember, let's just remember several years ago, there was this nice little thing called the Affordable Care Act. Oh, don't worry about what it's in it. Just we got to pass it before to know it. It's sort of like that deal. And that, whether it was good or bad, that's not what we're talking about. None of us really knew what it entailed. What we did know was that it was a big bill that was supposed to make changes. It's sort of like this. They're basically going to the table and saying, we're going to give the best school system for the well-selected and connected children in an area of 6 to 9 miles.
Right.
Doesn't sound like y'all.
sound like
And I'm a plain-spoken white guy. So all you folks out here with the chickens and the cows and whatever else you have out here, sorry, sucks to be you. Show me differently. And if you can show me, prove it.
Right.
I'm all about proving it.
And again, sorry, Madam Mayor, but that's all, if we consider this resolution to go no, I would like to see a documented report of the questions not answered from this group. Has anybody in this group done it? The questions from this no group, and I'm not trying to just target 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here tonight. What are those questions from 2 weeks ago? There were 200 plus, I know, because I lost count, I'm an old guy. But I know of those 200 questions, how many have gotten solidified answers of 1 year and don't know after that, or don't know, or it'll depend. With those kind of answers, if that's where we're at right now, we need to have it documented. That's what I'm saying.
know,
And
so-
this is
That was me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's a very fair question. It has some sub-questions in it. I can't answer every single sub-question. For example, there were a lot of questions asked at the several community meetings, so I cannot remember exactly how many questions were asked, how many were really questions versus comments, concerns. I can let the commission know that several of the questions that were asked at the first Newberry community meeting and at the first Archer community meeting, we have been able to answer from our side on our FAQ section of our website. We have multiple FAQs, and we are continuing to update those with new questions that come up at these community meetings, as well as in response to new questions that arise when the Yes Newberry campaign releases statements on their webpage and Facebook. So it's a moving target, though, because the whole community was ambushed by this. They had years to plan. We just got up and running. So we're probably not going to be able to answer every single one in writing, because that will probably throw more stuff up until the day of the election, but we are doing our best to answer what we can, and many of those answers are already published on our website, newberry.org.
Do you have that, Mr. Hammond?
for those on Everbridge and Archer that could reach that site and be able to look at those questions with the answers? If I have Everbridge and that could be sent to me?
I think we can.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'm just saying, you've got an elderly population here, you've got people that live under a rock, I do, and the lady in the back, because we work many things in life, or whatever, but would like to have the information readily available. I don't want to do a Facebook.
Would it, I can turn the individual FAQ pages into PDFs. I don't want to provide my personal
Can-
email because
can
that'd
you-
be public record, right?
Can you provide the website so that,
No, it's a newberry.org, and we mean no to the Newberry Charter Schools. We're not saying like get rid of Newberry. It's a lovely place.
We might be.
newberry.org?
No, newberry.org, that is correct. And then you just go to hit the alt,
Cases, all lowercase.
for the URL, yes, newberry.org. And then hit the button on the page that says all FAQs. That's going to take you to a page with several other buttons. Each of those buttons is a separate FAQ. So there are going to be several answers. That's going to be updated as time goes on. So that's where you can get it.
Thank you.
From the no side, from your organization side.
From the no side, yes.
Yes,
Newberry, it is a Facebook page.
Yeah,
That's where
both
they,
of them.
they have a website too.
Yeah, I don't want to get into Facebook pages, and that's where it's so dangerous.
Give me just 1 second. I can give you the Yes Newberry's website. 'Cause, no, I mean, that's fair. Like, I don't want it to be one.
What I'd like it done is sent to our city office, to, just from your side, and then Mr. Hammond, if Deanna or somebody could find out what is the site that they use for information.
Is somebody else, because that makes my email address, my personal email address public. I can't use my work email address to do that. Would you do it?
And Commissioner White, you may already know both of those, but
They just need to meet people where they are.
Right, right.
People where they are.
Although it is very simple, ours is nonewberry.org and theirs is yesnewberry.org.
And then April 8th through the 12th, I believe, that's when it starts, April 8th. We don't have a lot of time, and so if you table this now, I'm scared that we can't reach as many people as we need to. These kids are gonna get let down. We don't have a lot of time. They pushed the vote. They have an option, I think, to pull their petition.
Start over
But
again.
they've said, they've been hard no on it. They're not going to do that.
it was very clear 2 weeks ago that they have the majority of the vote. So unless the school board administration steps in.
We don't agree.
We don't know that. I mean, the parents that we're speaking with are very concerned about this, including parents in the city of Newberry, which is something I found personally surprising. I thought most of the opposition, a lot of it is coming from the city of Archer, about that most of it would be, as well as Jonesville and the rural areas. But it turns out that there are a lot of parents even within the city of Newberry who are concerned about this. A lot of at the schools, there's one school where we are afraid that there's a little bit of intimidation going, but at the other two schools, there seems to be a lot of opposition from the teachers. But there are a lot of people on the fence, and that's why it's so important that this commission passed the resolution tonight, just to show these teachers who might be afraid, because like they love their schools and they love their students. They're going to be put in a hard spot if the charters pass, because they have to choose: do I keep my pension? Do I keep my health benefits? Maybe not get this 3% raise they're promising. They have to choose between that or leaving their school and their students. And if they end up having to stay at those schools, they don't want to be retaliated against, because they will not have a union to protect them. So a lot of the people who are voting no on the teacher side, they're afraid to speak up. And I think it would be for them, for those teachers, this resolution, this commission passing this resolution tonight would show them that somebody has their back, an institution has their back, and that's why this is so important. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
in answer to your question, they have answered a lot of questions. They give us answers. But it boils down, Commissioner Hope, to once this vote is taken, if it passes, everything's washed away. They can do whatever they want to.
That was
And-
2 weeks ago.
And that's what I'm saying. So whatever they tell us is,
Speculative.
it is intents and desires from a group. I don't know what they're gonna do, because I've seen some things that would cause me to speculate. So, yes, they do give us answers. But it boils down to, nobody can guarantee it until after that charter's
And I
done.
did want to touch on this. This is almost irreversible. If it passes, we cannot push it back for a vote just to get our schools back. It will be called into legal system well beyond when our children graduate. So that's another thing. And
And there's no guarantee that they're gonna stand behind their work.
Correct.
We're to
they
trust
don't
them.
have to. Yeah, we're to trust them.
So,
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
as a point of clarification, just for the legal side, how, Commissioner Fletcher, are you, Hope, I'm so sorry I called you your first name.
Guy in the rock.
Guy under the rock. How are you wanting Tony to disseminate the website? Is that what you were asking him to do?
Just make sure that the city office has it available
Okay.
for those people that are anti-posting or Facebooking and all that. Just what are these two fact websites that they
Okay.
can go to find out more
I just wanted to
information?
make sure I understood. That's
And that's
all.
why I included both,
Right.
yays and the nays.
And the nays. Okay, I'm with you. We're good.
Because I'm like the gentleman here, show me the facts, tell me the information. I want to know the controls behind the screen, not the big face.
It's exactly the same as ours, except for it's yesnewberry.org.
so,
That is their website.
I think that's it.
Mr. Lewandowski, you want to speak?
No, I'm standing because my
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-09.
Where's the microphone?
It's right there.
I second.
We have a motion to adopt the resolution by Commissioner White and a second by Commissioner Green. All right. Any other discussion? Any public discussion on the motion? All right. Seeing no public comments, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion passes 5-0.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
Thank y'all so much.
I just want to say,
you're welcome.
the city of Archer and the city of Newberry have had a long history of working together on different things.
Correct.
The school being the biggest. I mean, that's been the biggest so far. And I don't want to hurt our relationship, I truly don't.
Right.
But they hurt.
Well, somebody do.
That has the ability to hurt our kids.
Oh, yes,
Destroy them.
absolutely.
And to destroy, possibly.
I can only say hurt, so.
Madam Mayor, and the only thing that
That's the only reason I'm as vocal about this as I am.
one thing I want to speak to this is we had our high school years ago and the middle school, and we lost it because of complacency and just mediocrity and being under the rock. Those schools went to Oakview and to the high school as far as our zoning. We have an opportunity because westward growth is coming on State Road 24.
Yep.
And school concurrency in the county, and you can entrust whether the county wants to change their mind or not. The next high school is scheduled to be in southwest Alachua County. This is our opportunity, if we're getting behind the guns with the county public school system, in our elections coming up, whether we like what we're hearing or not, and two, being favorable to be the recipient of the high school for Alachua County. It's not going to say a lot for our middle school, but I certainly don't want to go with complacency, just thinking Big Brother's going to take care of us. Because just like Shell Elementary and others in the county and Waldo, you lose all your schools.
Exactly.
And I am just a grandpa, but I am frightened to death. I was so proud to know we had a magnet program established and set at Archer Elementary. It's our saving grace. As you take that away and our elementary school is under capacity by a lot. We're next on the hatchet list. I mean, that's my opinion. Now, I'm doing that Facebook posting. I'm outside the rock, an old guy here. But what I'm saying is in the 60s, we lost because we just thought, oh, they can't do this. And the county did it. They took the school away and just said, forced zoning, you're going to go to Newberry. And we let it happen here in Archer. So as we try to provide grants and try to get population growth and people trusting in us with our parks and our recreation programs. Please, if anything comes up about school concurrency we bring up here or whatever, please pay heed to that. Because this, I'm not saying that skip the elementary and skip the middle school, but we've got to fight for this high school to be coming into Archer community in the next five, because it is westward growth, whether they like it or not. It's the train has left the station here, and they don't have the capacity at Newberry High School. They don't have the capacity for the growth that's about to hit. So this could be our muscle back. As I voted no, and I didn't want to because I don't have enough facts. I mean, I haven't seen the guy behind the controls. I'm sorry. Other than speculation, which I don't trust in that, but I don't trust in our school administration with the speculation either, as we vote them in and we vote them out. That's my point. And so it's like the double-edged sword here. But I do know that because of the capacity need for a high school, it's going to be in the Archer Commons area, in this community area. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Madam Mayor, to the Commissioner's point, Commissioner Hope's point, and I will not call you Guy under the Rock. Commissioner, Mayor Bailey, a couple things. There's a major catastrophe that happened recently. And people keep thinking what happened with Newberry is new. This isn't new. We should have been paying attention. And I'll tell you what, it's always follow the money. How does a city like Newberry have so much in reserves, provides very little services, high level of tax, but many in reserves? Starting back when the superintendent was this lady named Carly Simon. Had we been paying attention, Newberry was amping up, gearing up. This isn't new. And why I say about the reserves is we have not done a rezoning since 1985. That's probably before Dr. Murmur was born. Brandy and I were probably in kindergarten. You weren't born yet. You and I were in kindergarten. Okay, we were in kindergarten. Carly Simon was in 4th grade. That was the last time we had a rezoning. So to your point about the high school and the westward movement, how do you do high school when you can't read 2 + 2 is 4? And I'm making it that simple because if I can't read data, but I have somebody that's making $182,000 a year as superintendent, hiring my friends and family, or if I'm part of the same sorority or fraternity, or they go to the same church, who's benefiting? You all are losing. It's top heavy at the school board. We're losing. So to your point.
All right, reports, correspondence, and communication, and followed by city manager's report.
Nothing on the correspondence and communications. Manager report number 1 is the overtime report. I have some concerns with the overtime report this month, so I'm meeting with everybody tomorrow morning. We're going to have a heart-to-heart discussion on this overtime report.
Okay.
Number 2, food drives coming up. We have one for 3/19/24 and 2 more for 4/2/24 and 2. It should be 4/16/24, not 2/16/24. And again, these are done in conjunction with Cox Communication. As discussed a little bit earlier by Kimberly Horn, Gator Sketch Architect Planners and Kimberly Horn are proposing to come in and make a presentation at the April meeting on the design of the new community center for Maddox Park. Hopefully they'll have all of their plans and designs for you so you can get a good idea of what they're proposing. Excuse me. We had one code violation in February. It was for 14594 Southwest State Road 45. I met with Alachua County last Thursday, I believe it was. I asked them to come out and look at 143rd Avenue and Southwest Avenue and give me some ideas of what they thought we needed to do with that particular road in those areas where the potholes keep appearing. And what they suggested was that where some of the major potholes were, that we go in and take a core sample of the lime rock to see how deep the lime rock goes. We need a base lime rock of about 8 inches. So we're going to take a bore sample this week and see how deep it goes. Once we get that idea And then we're going to go in and mark some areas and have those particular areas milled out about 1.5 inches. And the county will come in, once we've got them milled, the county will come in and pave those areas for us. So hopefully that will take care of the majority of those. The coal patch is not working. Putting the milling in is not working. The only thing we can do that will stop those erosions down there is just to mill those areas out and just, repave the sections of the road. I did talk with Mr. Arnold today, because he came over here to talk about some things, and told him what we were looking at doing. And he said that if the county would provide him the material, which is the asphalt, that he would pave it for us. So if the county will do that, then we'll get Mr. Arnold to pave it for us. But that's what we're looking at for that particular area. Public Works is still putting some meter boxes and lids in periodically as they're working some of the, the meter readings. They cut back some of the right-of-ways. One particular they cut back was Dan Beck's over on Depot Street. They're starting to cut grass again, but they're going back to the old way they used to do it. Everybody's working the zones. They're all working one zone at a time. So everybody's working Zone A, and then everybody's gonna be Zone 2, and everybody's gonna be Zone 3 and Zone 4. So they should get every zone done each week. They moved the retention pond at Holly Hills. Let's see, they put some new mulch down at the tot lot, sprayed it with some weed killer to kill the weeds in there. Didn't do any road work because the tractor was down this week, so we took it in to get it fixed. They're fixing the bathroom at Wilson Robinson Park. They put the concrete in the area that they had to repair the pipes, so as soon as the concrete dries in there, it will be open.
And they're open.
Is it open today?
Yes, it's open.
The one was open.
Okay.
Yeah, one was open, but the other one had a hole in the floor where they had to repair the pipe. And they were putting new concrete in to close it, to fix that.
Okay.
This past weekend, the camera system, it was either Thursday or Friday, I can't remember the exact date. About 10:30 at night, I was watching the camera, and Scott was watching the camera. We caught 4 kids down there at 10:30 at night, fiddling around the playground. So ASO was called, and they came out, caught the kids. They weren't even from Alachua County. They were from somewhere else. They issued them a trespass after they kept them there for about an hour questioning them. And one of them was charged with possession because he had a bag of marijuana in his car.
They were kids?
Yeah, teenagers.
Okay.
So that was Thursday night, and then I think it was Saturday night. There were 3 teenagers down there, 2 boys and a girl, on the stage, and they were jumping up, grabbing hold of the lights, swinging on the lights. Well, they pulled the lights down.
Did their parents get a bill?
By the time ASO got out there, they were gone. So ASO's trying to locate them now so that they can have a conversation with the parents. But right now, the lights are pulled out. Calvin and I and John talked about it this week. We're going to try and figure a way to redesign those lights. We're probably going to drill holes up through the rafters at the very crown of it and run conduit up there and mount the lights flush up against the ceiling so that they can't do it anymore. It's the only way we can figure to do that.
The one boy that got caught for possession had a sweatshirt on, a hoodie. I'm sorry. The one boy had on a hoodie with a marijuana leaf on the front, and the deputy told him, said, if you don't want to get questioned about marijuana, don't advertise it.
He's advertising that, handed on him.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Attorney's report.
I'll be short and sweet, Madam Mayor. You guys are running this week, I believe, on your thickets lien. We'll be hitting the 90 days, so we'll be ready to file for foreclosure on our lien. Just as a reminder, though, about how that goes, we foreclose on it, and then essentially it goes to auction. We have the ability to bid on it. If we get outbid, we get our lien that's standing out there. Or if we're the winning bidder, then theoretically you'd be paying yourself probably. You wouldn't, a bit above and beyond your lien if it was just you. At which point, Mr. Hammond and y'all are gonna have the discretion to do what you'd like with that piece of property if it works out that way. Otherwise, you've got a landowner going in there that is fresh meat, you know, and theoretically wouldn't invest in a property to let it sit there and be worse. So just wanted to give you guys an update. I know that it's been a long 90 days, so, but that's it for me.
So,
A few years, go ahead.
when it go, when we take it to bid, has the building got to be torn down then, or will it be after it goes out to bid?
My understanding of how it's going to work is it's going to be after whoever purchases the property. It'll either be the new landowner or it'll be us.
Okay. Be the new landowner either way.
Either way, yes,
And
yes.
if nobody meets our purchase price, then we own it and we will tear it down and sell it as a vacant piece of property.
Hold on, it is a vacant piece of property.
Yeah, at which point you're not going to have people breaking windows and climbing into it.
Life safety issue.
Right.
Do we have to put it up for auction?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the foreclosure process is you're just foreclosing on your lien. You're saying that this person owes me a whole bunch of money, it's recorded in the public record attached to this piece of property, and I want to be paid. They have a piece of property to satisfy my lien. So all the court can do is put it to auction. That's as far as the court can go, to essentially pay your lien on the property. But the reality of how it'll work very likely is that we'll be the only bidder. And so we'll get the property.
Okay.
Well, I hope we will.
Me too.
All right, Commissioner Hope.
Madam Mayor, if I may, again, we've left Mr. Hammond, and I just want to open with a couple questions. This idea of condemning a property, is that something that we proceed with by ordinance or only through the magistrate process at this point? I guess it's a legal question.
Condemnation is different than
Foreclosure.
Yep. Foreclosure and condemnation are two entirely different ones, I believe.
Okay, so leading to that, just again, for magistrate, I know you don't like it when we report something that's a life, health, safety issue, and I only gained new knowledge of this during the Great American Cleanup Saturday, but behind Sarah Branton's house, that mobile home, the entire back of it is wide open, roof collapsed, and there's still individuals residing in the backyard and in it when the weather's inclement and they can't get the sunshine. But they've torn the entire back of the trailer off. And so, is the magistrate even aware of that?
Which?
It's in her backyard, it's the street, the last street, directly.
Is that the Willie Brown one?
Okay.
That's the one that we already condemned.
Yep.
But you guys gave
Additional time through Corey Harris saying he could assist.
Because,
They couldn't find the owner.
Corey Harris came in and asked y'all for additional time for that, and y'all gave them additional time, and we left it at that.
Okay.
How much additional time though?
And from that time, I mean, because that Corey, is usually a follow-through person to do those kind of things. I saw Mr. Harris on Saturday as well. I asked him about any properties and, how bad that one looked as far as a life safety, children at risk and just playing around something that shouldn't be there, as well as the vagrancy going on. And he said that was the Mr. Brown property. But when Mr. Harris came to us, that was 5 or 6 months ago. And so that's my question. I don't need an answer. I just need the magistrate aware of this and him to proceed at this point.
It's not, because it was not in that condition when we reported it. The only thing that was bad at that time was the front portion of it.
And there was egress coming from the back door or whatever. It wasn't locked or boarded. It is now completely gone. So if you could just identify with the magistrate for him to go down there and take a picture or whatever, because it's not fenced on that last street side, so he can walk around to the back of it or whatever he does.
It's not him, I will do that.
Commissioner Green, I'm surprised that Sarah hadn't been down here to tell us, because I was in shock and awe.
It's gone from just the back door needing to be boarded up to now the entire back is gone, almost. So if you could just look into that for me, I couldn't clean up enough to report on the Great American Cleanup to clean up that one, but that's what leads me to the question about condemnation. When we have something that is beyond an eyesore, and it's a life safety issue like this, I mean, all it takes is one match, and that entire neighborhood could go up in flames, just vagrant kids or vagrant adults or whatever. So Madam Mayor, to belabor this. The other thing that's a public, community, visible situation going on is we have a gentleman that is residing on a vacant property, and I know we can't go onto a vacant property to remove somebody or whatever, and that's the old feed store.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Like our tent guy is just gone?
He's gone.
Or gone for right now?
He was evicted by the property owner or the
Okay.
realtor because ASO got it done.
Okay, all right, thank you. Because all I was going to say is, could we contact the owner to put no trespassing, so then the ASO could take.
ASO did that.
Because they were having, little breakfast fires and ladies residing there. I mean, I drove around in a circle 2 times just to see what the ladies were doing with him or whatever, and being nosy. Got him. I just didn't know what our rights were to be able to notify a property person of no trespassing. Then I knew that ASO could then.
Yeah, ASO did it.
Okay, thank you.
I've never seen the person. I know different people had mentioned them, but I've never seen them.
He had breakfast with a little fire and all that up there on the porch with the little charcoal thing and the
He out there
ladies were
playing
gone.
banjo music in the evening.
And music, yeah, it was.
Had his underwear hanging on the fence.
Yeah, did his washing and, yeah, you didn't know, that's right there. On a major thoroughfare. Yeah, okay, all right.
Because when I go to work,
Madam
it's dark, and when I come home, it's usually dark.
Well, all you gotta do is turn your lights on in your car, you can see all that activity at night. It starts about.
Yeah, because you probably passed that way.
It started about 10 and would go until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, really?
All right, I just have a report. I participated in the North Central Florida Planning Council, Executive Committee, and representing on the council as vice chair last month. I attended the League of Cities hosted by Mick Anopi last month also. 2 weeks ago, I went to the Newberry, I guess you call it charter school proposal, public meeting or whatever, 200 questions of which I will go to these org sites and see how many of the fact questions. I was in shock and awe that we had that. I mean, I was very proud that we had that much participation. But I think Commissioner White has taken it on from there. But there's too many unanswered questions. So our decision tonight, I think, was wise at this point. And then Saturday, I participated in the Great American Cleanup. Sadly to say, unless others showed up, that was it.
I forgot.
I was it. One person, and again, I'm not blowing my horn, I'm not under the rock and out of the rock or whatever, but we're losing sight of, and again, I don't want to attack Tangi. It was posted on our water bills, but it just said Public Works Cleanup. Ain't no citizen care whether Public Works has got a cleanup or not. If we label it what it's supposed to be, the Great American Cleanup, for those that might recognize that as a bigger picture than just a Public Works Cleanup. We need to advertise it as a Great American Cleanup. And I propose, and again, I'm not making a motion tonight, but I propose next year that we invest in a couple banners a month or 2 before the event day and make sure that the citizens know what this is and what the city can provide. Because the guys were out there, they drove behind me walking the streets of Holly Hills, because I just chose Holly Hills because it's easy for me to walk the streets and speak to people. And they pick up the bags as I drop them or whatever. I will say this, though. As a Holly Hills neighborhood in the community last year, and again, it's a terrible way to measure success or improvement. Last year, 4 hours, all the streets, just taking care of the right-of-ways and being nosy and speaking to people and all that kind of stuff like I'm great at doing. 4 full 55-gallon bags were picked up and left. And I said, dang, I mean, I was so proud last year because before that, when I used to participate, you could never get all the streets done. And so, and no disrespect to anybody who lives in the Holly Hills neighborhood. I think I spoke highly of you 2 years ago or whatever. Say, man, somebody's cleaning up. You must have church cleanups or whatever. But it was cleaner. It was there was pride in the neighborhood like I hadn't seen in years. And I'm not being prejudicial when I talk like this. This year, 2 bags.
All right.
The top lot, all 5 streets, Commissioner Reverend Green's back street, the back streets that go beyond just where the green courts are. I was very proud. And I'm proud of our public works because the right-of-ways had been mowed recently, and maybe it's that as well. I think last year I recognized it because you had zoned public works to different zones, and I think Justin had Holly Hills, or maybe, yeah, I think it was Justin. So I commented last year, tell Justin he's doing a super job, because it reduced it to 4 bags. But to get down to 2 55-gallon black bags for a whole neighborhood that used to take the work release and everybody else, I'm looking at you, Commissioner Green, but I mean you and all the, the Corey Harrises and everybody that resides in that area down there. I'm just very proud of that neighborhood. I don't know if they're looking forward to wastewater. I don't know if something has motivated them, if it's just community pride like the sign says, but if it's controlling the outsiders, I think the block parties and not having so many, but I'm very proud of that. So that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Commissioner Green?
Only thing I have to report is just the, I guess we could call it town hall meeting, concerning the YES committee. And let me say this, that the YES committee were there that night. They pretty much, they presented everything that they had to present. So we, I think most of us was there, and we heard their presentation on that night. And that's where about the 200 plus questions were asked from the Archer citizens. So we have seen and heard from the YES committee, even though they weren't here at this meeting, but we have seen and heard from the YES committee. As a matter of fact, I was there on the day in Newberry when they announced it to the media, and that's when I really found out about what was going on. And then I went to their next Newberry meeting, with a lot of comments. There were some yeses, and there was a lot of a few no's, but people that had questions. And same thing, you know, I've heard them say things, and I've seen them change a lot of stuff, and it's like it's changing from week to week with what they started off with. And so I'm glad that we were able to do what we did on tonight, because I am very, very, like Commissioner White, I am very, very concerned about Archer. And for us to table this, the voting process would have already taken place or started by the time we meet again. So I am very concerned about, even if they let the Archer kids in, how are they going to get there with parents working? And so they can't guarantee any transportation. If the school board can barely get them there, how they're going to get them there? And anyway, that's been one of my biggest concerns and what I've been taking a big part in.
You done?
I'm done.
Oh, Commissioner White?
Commissioner White attended the 2 meetings, the one with the YES group and the one. Microphone. I attended the 2 meetings. You'd like to bring it down to my toes. And I have been, like I said, fielding phone calls, but not just phone calls from on the schools. The night we had the school meeting down here last week, I had a person walk into that community center, and she was so irate, it wasn't funny.
Wow.
About that meeting and the vote. I told her I could not discuss it with her. I was very careful. I've been very careful. But I do have a question. Because I saw today on Facebook, and yeah, I live on Facebook, that we were down a board member.
Which, planning board,
Planning.
we are, he just resigned.
So my question, Madam Legal, is, so it would come down to, let's say it comes down to a 2-2 vote
In a P&Z hearing.
at a P&Z hearing. How are they gonna give us advice? Or what, how,
So a motion fails. On 2-2, it fails.
okay.
Keeping
motion
in,
does.
the motion does. And so the issue may just be that it kind of is an impasse.
And that's what I'm saying.
And I think that it can come before you knowing it came to you on an impasse.
Well, my question would be, when is the next P&Z meeting?
The 25th, I believe, right?
No, they were planning on the 25th, but he wants to get his audit or his hearing thing,
Oh, the noise emission
yeah,
plan.
noise emission plan done before he brings it back, so it's going to be sometime in April.
Okay.
Okay, so we may have a full board then. Okay. Just making sure
I'm sorry, who resigned?
Brian Rulehauer?
Oh, I just thank you.
Yes, that's who resigned.
A lot of people were upset. I mean, I got 2 phone calls on that and said, I can't discuss it with you. And, about the way that was handled. So, anyway, what else have I done? Nothing, but I do want to tell you that, I don't know, time changes got me all messed up. That next week, we start our ball games down at the park, so anybody that doesn't have anything to do on Tuesday or Thursday, come on out.
I want to schedule.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Okay, so I went all 3 meetings. I went to the one where the public announced that they were doing the schools. I went to the one in Newberry. I came to the one in Archer. I went to one in the middle of that. Some parents from Newberry wanted to discuss it because I'm really concerned about it also. Because how I'm understanding a lot of it, Archer really don't have a lot of say. Because it's like, well, I do have a niece in the middle school, but then I have 2 little nephews with twins in the 4th grade. So if she didn't have the one in the middle school, when it comes to the twins, they really don't have a say. So my thing, what I'm unhappy about, is if they want to charter school, they need to build their own and start, because it's impacting a lot of kids from Archer if they for it or against it. So they really don't have a say. And I think with something like that, they should have a say. And another thing, it is impacting a lot of people from Archer. A lot of the bus drivers from Archers, their employment is up in the air. A lot of the custodians from Archer in the middle school, their residents of Archer, is impacting their jobs.
Correct.
They don't even have a say. Some of them people have been on their job 20-some years. And they're supervisors, and they're going to have to, if it passes, they're going to have to lose their position, their title, their ought to go to another school because they're going to lose it. And the way it came about, I don't like. Right. Because how I'm hearing it, they've been planning this over a year or more. And to come, Newberry been working with us for over a year with this sewer, and in the back porch, they've been having these meetings, and then come and smile in our face, we're friends. Right. But you've been having these come to Jesus meetings in the backyard, and then come to us and say, oh, we we just thought about this 4 months ago. No, y'all been planning.
You're down to 2 now.
Yeah, yeah, they've been planning this. So I'm disappointed in that part. I feel that it was very undercover and very deceptive on Newberry's part. And Newberry, some of, I ain't gonna say all Newberry Commission, but some of Newberry Commission. Okay, so I went to all 4 meetings. I'm like, Commissioner White been getting a lot of texts, a lot of phone calls, what we're gonna do, how can we fight this? So, and then I went to a Democratic breakfast Saturday morning. Then I went to Rosewood dinner Saturday night. I went to something for the female protection, which some of Archer residents are a part of. I didn't stay long. They was doing a
They didn't feed you?
I was tired. I was just tired because it's been a long week. So, because I'm with y'all, we got this new system we just started in the last week and a half, and it's beating all us up. So, I was tired, so I didn't stay long. And did I do anything else? That's it.
Okay, because I don't know what I did. I'm so tired. It's
Never had a
been,
meeting after time check.
we should do who?
Never had a meeting after time.
Oh. Well, I don't know if that was the problem, because my past couple of weeks have just been so busy. Yeah. I don't know if, I can't think of anything other than these, the Newberry meeting that I went to over here in Archer, and the fact that Jordan, he calls me a couple times a week now that this information has been out, to talk about what the changes are. But to your point, Commissioner Hope, a lot of the things that I had questions about or issues with are not answered when he calls. It's only surface items, and that doesn't help me, you know. But other than that, I am really drained, and hopefully I can rest a little bit because I'm on spring break now. So I'm sorry. I don't have anything else right now because I can't think right now. I might think of something soon, but we'll move on. Second comment period. 3 minutes. Please state your name.
Tangie Green, City of Archer employee. I just wanted to address what Mr. Hope said. It didn't just say, it said community cleanup 3/9/2024 at Public Works, and it gave the address and it gave the time. And also, I had the flyers for the community cleanup up on my counter for 2 months. It didn't say Great American. Mr. Hope, Commissioner Hope, because honestly, if you knew the HE double hockey sticks I caught trying to get these bills done in that system, because at one point I didn't care if not one citizen got a bill, because it was just that difficult. So I was going to take my person, you could have called it job abandonment or whatever. I was just that fed up with that. So I did put community cleanup. I didn't put the Great American, but I did put community cleanup. And the flyers that said Great American Cleanup were on my counter for 2 months. And most of the people that came in to pay their bills or even just ask questions took one, because there wasn't a single one left by the time Saturday came. I just wanted to address that.
I'm sorry, Miss Angie.
Yeah, I just wanted to address that because I do my best. Like I said, I'm doing the best I can with what I got, because I really think they misrepresented that system. They said everything was going to be easy. Click on one button. But let me tell you, if it's as hard this time printing bills, I might not be here next month.
Madam Mayor. Yes. Hey.
And Ms. Angie, my emphasis was on having the banners for next year at the park. because I think we get the bigger punch and bigger attention, because we used to, and there'd be 30 or 40, and people call in. do you
I
want
know, but
volunteers?
people called. People even called, and Deanna and I addressed their questions. So we were very surprised when they said it wasn't that much of a show up.
Yeah, I was
we were
surprised.
surprised about that.
And it was spring break weekend, so.
I
that
don't,
might have
you
something-
ain't gotta
we've
tell
done
me
it
I
in
was on
April.
75. And it was so much traffic, we was stuck
Yeah.
going for my
I thought
sister's
it was
birthday.
April, I don't know why I thought
Madam
so,
Mayor.
but, yes.
Thank you.
Every month, when Tony does his report, he thanks our public works.
Yes, he does.
Those 2 women in that office, 3 women in that office deserve a thanks also. mean,
I don't
the job
know.
they do.
I say, I don't know, but I'm just kidding.
And
They
I
do
have
an
heard
awesome
it.
job. I tell them that all the
I
time.
know, I do too, and that's what I said.
Yeah.
I appreciate very much what y'all do.
Thank
Yeah, because it's hard every time, some people come, it's always criticism. It's all, sometimes, like when I'm at work and I see who called, I go, oh. Because here it comes. They never come with anything positive.
Or help.
Y'all do.
There's Joe.
Or help.
Thank you all. Y'all just don't know how much that means to me in here, really. And we don't care, constructive criticism is good, but if you're gonna criticize, have a solution.
Hello.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome. Have a good night if you're running off.
Lori Costello, citizen. Several of these items that I'm going to put out there, as I've been asking for a year now. 141st Lane, it's really bad. That's been over a year. The sidewalks has been a year. All the junk signs in my neighborhood, like y'all have a sign on every corner. And that's fine, as long as they come and get them. But the problem is, these signs have been there 6, 8 months to a year. Okay, I mean, you have to put up signs to know what, everybody puts up those things, but they need to be taken back down. And Public Works used to do that a long time ago, and they're just Archer's getting just crummy looking with signs everywhere. The parking sign out here has been down for months, just laying on the ground. Please pick it up.
No, it has not. It's been down since about last week. I have
I
ordered
have a
brand new
picture
wooden
of it.
signs for it.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I have a picture of it. And 143rd, it wasn't 2 months, it was 2 days. I lived there. 2 days after they put the gravel in, and it wasn't what you said, the coal patch, because I know what the difference is. They put the same stuff on my road 2 days after it rained, and all that stuff went into the drains. It was not 2 months. Anyhow, you can scrape the truck on the trees at the park and the community center. The trees are so low. The playground equipment needs to be cleaned. We still have Christmas lights on City Hall, and we started taking down the Christmas decorations in December. The right-of-ways, some of them have stacked wood that has been there for a year. Can we figure out either code the people or have somebody come pick it up? But, now you got high weeds growing around it and everything. And it just, if we could clean up the right-of-ways, cut them back. When you go down some roads, I scrape it with my car. The stop signs need to be put up to code. And they're just getting lower and lower. The speed bumps need the proper signage. There's a whole list of stuff that, the Welcome to Archer sign on the south side, I understand it's going to be replaced. It looks like it needs to be cleaned. But, there's just so much that needs to be done. I thought trimming was going to be done citywide in the winter, because that's when you do it. In the spring, everything now is blooming, and instead of getting one limb that is bare, you're gonna get one limb that has all blooms on it. So they kind of missed their window to cut back, but we still need to trim the trees. So, you know, if things can get done, most of this stuff I've been asking for a year, and nothing has been done.
Thank you.
Well, one thing has been done, the mulch around the Welcome to Archer sign on Archer Road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Don Hanchey, resident. I just wanted to follow up on that property on 346 is behind the post office there. I think it's just past 164 Terrace. Pardon?
Tommy Williams? Danny Williams?
I don't know who owns it. It's that greenish blue
Oh, no.
mess. And when I asked about last month, Mr. Hammond, you said that the new owner said they were gonna tear it down, and you
Talking
were,
about the one that kind of sits back in.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, and you were gonna follow up because you hadn't heard
I have
anything?
not heard anything back from her, but I'll check in again in the morning and see what I can find out with them. They never did call me back.
Because I had family visiting from Arizona the last couple weeks, and that's the first thing they told me is, what's going on with that? They missed the other building down here, but you can't miss that one. And so it's just something that's gotta get taken care of. So that's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Bobby Murmer. I initially had one question and one comment, but now I have a question, comment, or comment, question, another question. The employee from Public Works who was in here said that when she was told that there was the new system coming, it was supposed to be easier and better. Just to let everyone know, in the future, if anybody from IT tells you that there's new technology that's going to make your life easier, it's not. Always be suspicious. Good rule of thumb. Yeah. But no, really quick question. It sounded like when voting on the charter school resolution, the vote happened at the same time, and I'm hard of hearing, so reporting back to my group, was the vote, it was unanimous. Okay, I thought I heard someone mention voting no. No, okay, sorry. Misheard the public comment. So yeah, the only other comment I wanted to make was thank you for taking the time to consider and debate that resolution, consider it, going to all these meetings. I know these meetings can be a lot. There's a lot of information that's thrown out of there. It's very tense. So thank you for taking your public service very seriously, for paying close attention to this issue, and for taking a stand. Even if you did not end up following the way that you did follow, and you maybe endorsed the Yes campaign, I still appreciate you and all other public servants for doing what you do. So thanks again for standing up for teachers and also being so engaged.
Thank you.
Hello again, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. Armando Grundy Gomez. I just wanted to leave you all on a positive note and also say thank you very much. This is my first time in the 20 years I've lived here of attending your meetings. Corey Harris will probably beat me over the head for that and say, wait, you didn't come when I was here. I want to say hello to Mr. Hammond, as your city manager, fellow ICMA member. So I also wanted to leave you all with something else and encouraging you, because it's always sometimes it's easy to complain and what we do, but it's also another thing to uplift and show some encouragement. I think it's great that you all are trying to focus on your infrastructure. And I think that at the federal level, when there's lots of grants available, especially under this administration's executive principle of Justice 40, which means that people that are further away from investment, that are their demographics, it's not just based on your race, it's also based on geography. If you're further away from healthcare, if you're further away from educational sources, etc., you are a disadvantaged community. And as a disadvantaged community, there's grants through the Department of Transportation. Hint, hint, hint. There's grants from the Department of Transportation. Hint, hint, hint. There's lots of grants from the Department of Energy. Hint, hint, hint. I would look for those grants to invest in your infrastructure, since the bipartisan infrastructure law was passed, since the Inflation Reduction Act was passed. People think I'm nuts and I don't know anything. I might have seen these grants because I am one of those guys that likes public policy and rehearses those things. You can invest in your infrastructure, continue to do so. Whether it's making your streets better, improving the quality of life for your residents, and if you decide to annex more and bring more people, I hope you do. I just want to see you all thrive. You all are a beautiful community. You all are great folks. Thank you for being so hospitable and having us this evening. Have a great night.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to address something that Commissioner Hope said concerning that abandoned house behind Sarah Branton. Corey may not have been back to give an update yet. He had a sister that was very, very ill and recently passed away. So I think that's it. But I think he did tell me something, because I did ask him, and I think he did say something like a lawyer kind of told Mr. Brown that maybe just take some pictures of it and have those pictures and
I don't know, but I'm
maybe
gonna call
tear
Corey
it
in the
down.
morning, and I'm gonna find out where
Okay.
he's at with it, because if he's not gonna do anything with it, then I'm going to.
Yeah, so I think that's, yeah, so I think, that's what he told me that.
I've
So-
given him plenty of time.
Right, so I'm saying, I think Corey did tell me, but you can talk to him for yourself. But that's, I'm just saying that's why he's probably hasn't been to another meeting to give us an update.
Well,
Now,
Mr.
along those
Lewandowski.
same lines,
Oh.
since you're gonna do that, Tony, could you talk to whoever owns the building at the red light with the tarp that's been on it for 6 months?
Oh, the red and.
I mean,
yellow.
that's terrible for people to see when they come into our city, that building and the shape it's in.
I can talk to him, but unfortunately, looking terrible is not a problem. I mean, it's nothing we can do with it.
Okay, so the fact that it's got
It's not a code violation.
Yet.
I mean, I know who owns it. The guy that owns
I
the
know.
gas station up there owns it.
So the fact that it's got the tarp over it is not any kind of code violation?
Nope, not really.
Okay. Okay.
Please.
It is.
Yes.
Bill Lewandowski, citizen. Tony, I'm gonna have to say that I'd like you to trim the trees. And in return, I'd like more of your pictures on Facebook for the dogs. Is that a deal?
What, you mean you like her
Something like the dogs that go like this, I'd like if you
sleeping
wanted those.
positions.
If you trim the damn trees,
I'm
please.
gonna make a book of it.
Thank you. Okay, so there's that. Is there going to be Memorial Day celebration here? Are you guys gonna do that again this year?
I would
They
hope.
did that last year.
Memorial Day or for veterans?
That was for Veterans Day. We didn't have one.
You did a Veterans Day. Yeah, I just wondered if you're gonna do Memorial Day, just wanna know one way or
I
another,
haven't
that's
heard
all.
anything about it.
If you thought about it.
We had Veterans Day.
So just a question. Just for my own planning purposes, that's why I'm asking.
You want to plan one?
I sent you an email telling you I'd offer to help.
Yeah.
The problem
I have two of you that are ready to help, so, I mean, do you want to plan one for Memorial Day?
I think the problem you have now, if you hadn't started planning now, it's too late.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we could try, but it's.
That's
it's
May,
tough.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to get.
It's the end of May.
The problem is trying to get speakers and, ROTC, whatever you want to get, show up. It's kind of hard to get somebody in for that. If you want to start doing it, if you guys want to commit to it tonight, I'll help you plan it. No problem.
I
I'll
have.
stay speaker like that.
You go, just let me know.
And probably nothing.
Yeah.
Cost you nothing.
Yeah, well, I said the problem is by
good, 'cause
now, a lot of
we
people are already
need
dedicated.
He won't.
You won't- Okay, good. Well, that's good.
Well, I will do what I can to help you. Just holler.
Okay, all right, so is this like official? You're saying, yes, we're gonna do it?
Yeah.
I'm saying official, I would love to do it.
Okay, all right, there you go.
I'm looking at, I knew it was the end of May, the 27th, so you want to do it on that Monday?
Motion bring the hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yeah, I'll call Tony tomorrow, and
Okay.
we'll look at the dates, because I don't want to just say, yes, we're gonna do it that day without him taking a look at what's going on,
Okay.
because that's not fair.
My philosophy is if you're gonna do a ceremony on a Memorial Day or a Veterans Day, you do it on Memorial Day or Veterans Day.
Okay, if you want to do it that day, it's
The
fine.
only exception is the 4th of July, since we can't afford to do it on the 4th of July this year.
You're gonna have funds, because we're not gonna have boom.
Yeah, and I don't know what the county's gonna do, because, you know, as you probably know, the veteran service officer resigned for the county, so I don't know what they're gonna do for that. Yeah. Okay, next thing is, I had made a suggestion about having a FAQ, or frequently asked questions section, on the sewer, either on the webpage or on the Facebook. You know, something that says, on a regular basis, here's an update on what's going on. You know, this is what we think maybe the rates are. I know you don't have the rates yet, but when that comes in, information for citizens, because every time I go to a meeting, I hear the same questions over and over again. And I think if we just put those on there and keep it updated, I'm sure the engineer could do that for you. I think that would be great. The last thing I have is there appears to be an auto junkyard that's growing up next to the cemetery. Is that a permitted use?
Next.
And is anybody doing anything about it? Question?
I know that I questioned it, last year before last, and, at that time, he didn't have as many cars.
Yeah, and I don't want to say anything, you know, officially, you know, initially, because it was just a couple of cars, and I don't want to get in anybody else's business, but gosh, you just can't help but notice it now.
And
It's
now
just,
it's really gotten bad.
yeah.
Which property are we talking about?
The one that's directly by the cemetery.
Miss Rostic's and her grandson lives there. He's the
The one to the right of the
He
cemetery?
works on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right in front.
Yeah, if you're standing there looking at the cemetery, it's the one to the right.
And it gets loud too, I think.
And Miss Rostic is, she's frail now. I don't think she's as strong as she used to be. Not that that's any excuse, but,
it is for her.
and I'm not sure whether she even still resides there.
I'm not sure she does either. I know that the cars belong to her.
And Billy White is the one that works on the cars.
That's the grandson?
Okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
grandson, Billy White.
Yes, ma'am.
I forgot to ask whether not having the qualification dates, we didn't advertise them, is that legal?
I'm not prepared to render an opinion on that. I'll have to look into it. If something was done wrong, we'll correct it. Otherwise, we'll just keep on.
Yeah,
But we'll
how do
look
you
into
correct
it.
something like that? Just,
A redo typically is how you would fix most things. Most things in local government can be fixed by a redo. I know that sounds so silly, but a lot of the times things can be fixed by just redoing them and doing them right if they were done incorrectly.
do a qualification period over again?
Yeah, essentially,
Yeah.
if that's the case.
Yeah, okay. So will somebody email me or,
I'll just bring it back to the commission at the next meeting, or we'll handle it in the meantime.
okay, I'll just email Tony and ask him.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Meeting adjourned, 9:09.
Yeah,